think is going to come out on top, and we kind of feel like AsMonaco Gambit has maybe a little bit of an edge here, but it should be good Dota regardless.
I would hope so, yeah. I think it's quite possible that it is 2-0, but I think we'll at least see a pretty solid fight. Both these teams have had a long time to prepare. They know what's on the line, and ultimately, the best team's going to win. But you look on paper, AsMonaco, no one, Melojule, it's just...
if you compare them one-on-one, it is very rough looking.
Then when you look at their results across the season, I mentioned already how EXTREUM, they had these bad results, only beating the bad teams, losing to top. Gambit's the exact same. They bring in no one, but they still, of course, at the tail end, they're beating the bad teams with no one. They haven't really proven themselves. So in kind of just pure record, they're both 3-3.
Yeah.
They've beaten the same teams, lost to the same teams, and it really is down to the question: is no one the big enough X factor to make this team strong?
I will say though, I like this, right? We see a couple of other regions where playoffs groups out of the major are decided by BO1s. At least in this case, you have beaten and lost to the same teams. Play each other. The winner has a chance to go to the major. The loser doesn't deserve one, based on the results of the season. So this, if you're going to end it in any way, I'd say this is how to do it.
And I think also, in the Eastern European division, the tiebreakers that we do have are all between 2 teams. And regardless of the results today, it will only be 2 teams. So there will be a best of 3 played. And then you can literally say, okay, you know what? We just need to know who's the better one of these 2 teams. And we'll play a best of 3 to decide. Rather than, oh yeah, good luck in the best of 1.
We'll get to that next series afterwards. We got this one first.
Yeah. I was just going to say that this series is just proof of a team that's trying to improve over a season. They don't change players, but they kind of ensure that as a team they're improving. Another team, they kind of get shaky, they swap out players. So it's kind of, we have substitutions to get better, or we can just keep improving as a team to get better. And it's kind of, what's better? A substitute, world star player, or just team ethic? And that's kind of the fight up right now.
We're going to find out. We are ready to kick off. The draft is right around the corner, so stay tuned because we're going to be right back. It is time for a small break before draft, and then we're ready for AsMonaco Gambit versus EXTREUM.
With the right CPU, you can turn any game from familiar to phenomenal.
get one pro player.
True. Lion.
They still go for the line.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like it a lot. I mean, even into it's a non-damage disable. So if you find Nyx invis on a sentry, you get a hex off. Everybody can follow up with no fear of carapace.
They're going for Tidehunter, and this is what covers when I spoke about the weakness of Ench Lion. I didn't kind of cover that with also if you pick up the strong offlane to cover the fact that both your supports are a little bit squishier, you're finding the best for that is simply Tidehunter. Morphling, free lane against Tide. Timber, deletes Tide.
Yep. Viper,
Break, Tide doesn't get to play Dota. So I feel like this is simply the evolution of the meta within EU and Eastern Europe, which is just Lion Tide is this thing brought to prominence by Alliance.
Yeah. Bloodseeker, nice pick. It's open still, likely off lane, but really nice against the Void Spirit throughout the game as well.
Speak about lighting. This guy needs some.
Yeah, we see the important
G,
bits.
yeah.
Yeah, that is G, but we see his head.
No, he's like it's a different vibe. Sheep.
Yeah.
Oh, very grungy.
He's the mastermind.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this is it's more of a streetwear aesthetic. Like, this is G in a nutshell. This is his brand. He's gonna. Come
You
out
can
of the
post this
darkness,
on
get the W.
a t-shirt. Just have a black t-shirt with somewhere the shade of a face.
Oh, they actually go for a bristleback.
Okay.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah, so neither one of these supports does a damn thing to Bristleback.
Oh.
It used to be able to break him, but this is the patch. In a nutshell, you never pick Bristle here if there's an X in the game until Ice Frog swung the Nerf Hammer.
Interesting. I do like how Gambit, they set up this Bloodseeker pick to pivot between offlane and carry with somewhat comfort, because Nyx Bloodseeker, strong lane. CM Bloodseeker, equally a strong lane. The key thing is they need to really kind of unpack their draft and understand what they're trying to do here, because this Bristle pick, I mentioned the idea of Tidehunter. Bristle's the same idea, but even more aggressive.
And they banned Viper too. So
of course, the brick.
Yeah, as you said, no, but Timber as well. Like suddenly all of this makes sense. But
Yes.
Tide or Bristle in this spot makes a lot of sense. I like it a lot more than a Mars. To your point, you already have these supports that can provide a lot of lockdown and disable. So you needed something that actually just runs in front lines.
But it's the idea of the diet potentially as well. We spoke about the stacks. Bristle,
true. Very
Ancients to jungle, the idea of just utilizing that economy. That's where EXTREUM coming into the series, taking the unfavorable side.
The no one
Interesting.
Kunkka. Should have probably seen that one coming. I'm sure a lot of people at home did. This is pretty much his bread and butter. You know, probably his best hero and what he's most known for.
FN used to play it as well.
Yep.
Poor FN.
Poor FN.
I don't see a lot of solutions to Bristle though on Gambit right now. Like, yeah, they've got lots of damage and stuff, but he can basically turn his back every time unless they swarm him from all sides. So I kind of feel like if he gets off to a good start, while they can force the engagement on him, if he has good itemization and doesn't get super out of position when pushing, like he's going to be covered. Am I wrong here?
No, for sure. I think the key thing here is that Kunkka, as a mid hero, can itemize for this. He likes to buy Vessel in some rare scenarios. So I think that could be the kind of the outlet they need. And I think simply for Gambit, they need to kind of decide what's the Bloodseeker doing. Is he your carry? Is he your offlane? I prefer to see him go into the offlane role, just kind of play aggressive, and then just have a strong carry to kind of give you that win condition on the side of Gambit.
Surprising to see that Gambit's still banning out the Mars.
Well, it's most likely a carry Bristleback with
Yeah.
the mid voice Brit looking to kind of close out with an offlaner. I think potentially Troll could be a good option for Gambit.
Yep. I think that's probably your best bet in this spot, but
Sounds pretty good. High armor, can fight Bristle to the death, keep him locked down.
yeah. The thing is, it kind of goes both ways because Bristle's pretty nice against Troll too. You kite him, you deal with him in lane pretty okay. Like you don't get threatened. Like killing Bristle, you typically want to have some sort of hack to do it, right? Like Bristleback, or sorry, Timbersaw as an example, break mechanics.
Yeah.
Troll, Kunkka, Bloodseeker, you're just gonna hit him, likely in the back until death.
Yeah. Do so much damage that he dies anyways. So EXTREUM needs some kind of tempo setter that could combo with Void Spirit a little bit or team fight. I think that's why Mars got banned here, because he kind of covers both bases. So right now their team fight is like Void Spirit Lion. So like if they struggle at all in this game, they're going to be crushed unless they get either team fight or gank more from their offlane hero.
I still wouldn't mind the Tide, honestly. They ban out the Troll themselves from EXTREUM. Cool. Very nice.
Good call.
So what are the dream carries left? Like,
He's played a lot of different heroes.
no, he has, yeah.
We've still got the Juggernaut, the Slark, the Ember, the Anti-Mage. They actually won with it.
Why don't you just
The Ricky,
you could still just jug, no?
Monkey King.
You have a lot of sustain. It's a really nice landing phase. And you're not
Monkey
threatened
Yo.
by any of these heroes.
What about like PL?
Ooh, what about the OD?
Just an offlane OD, now it's the carry Bloodseeker. Okay.
Yep.
That is a
I
nice
mean,
answer to the Bristle as well.
But
Yeah, I like it in late game team fights. You're just going to banish the Bristle like constantly, lowers mana.
I think the interesting thing is simply that they have an Ench 5 who could deal with OD very well. We speak about how OD suffers in lane when people can get on top of him. If there's like a Centaur creep or one of these kind of bigger creeps to keep him attack, he can never really channel the Meteor Hammer at minute 6+. And in lane, he's never going to be able to really hit the Bristle because of this kind of Ench kind of defensive wall he'll build up.
That's a really nice pick.
It is.
It's a really nice pick. They needed something that kind of answers Bristle, but they also needed more damage, right? And preferably not physical damage, but some sort of pure or magical burst. And they get that here. And it's also quite nice to have a true save against a Lion and a Void Spirit Lion.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's like almost all the heroes on Extreme right now have huge mana pools. So any banish is going to give him a lot of mana, make his ulti more effective too. So it's looking, and he's got really high armor on OD. It got nerfed recently, but laning against Bristle just makes a lot of sense here. I like it.
Full minute left for EXTREUM to decide how they want to answer this one. The Tidehunter obviously still in the pool.
What about like a teamfight aura builder like Darkseer or something? Is Beastmaster still in? Beastmaster, Brewmaster.
I don't mind the Beast just for the idea of just get out the game quick, have some more stuns and just have some more pressure, and really play on like a 15-minute timing of Bristle using the stacks. Like Gambit, they don't really invade the jungle too well. Kunkka can, but it's not as if they're going to suddenly steal all your stacks yourself. So I think having an offlane that applies a bit more pressure might be good.
I still think it's a Bristle offlane. I really just want to see a standard jug. Just use the healing ward, push lanes.
There's the Beastmaster.
Okay.
Beastmaster.
Okay. I think both same concept, right? It was about who wants to play the Bristle, and then how do we activate this lineup to make sure we can control tempo, get towers, and get a key early advantage.
Yeah, this is a game for EXTREUM where they need to make sure they really kind of utilize the first 50 minutes of the game, make sure they actually have a timing to play off, because if they start running at Gambit too quickly, they're going to easily fall victim to the tankiness and saves that you have in this kind of lineup. The OD, the Kunkka, the damage from the initial 3 picks as well. So yeah, this is EXTREUM's game to play methodically, to unlock the strengths and the weaknesses that Gambit are presenting.
All right, final thoughts from you, Purge?
So the game basically comes down to, can Bristle get ahead, clear stacks, and have a big advantage? If they do, EXTREUM should be able to control the map really good and keep pressure going. Then it comes down to Monaco Gambit. Can they win a team fight bursting down Bristle or the enemy lineup? So laning stage is going to be huge. EXTREUM has to go even or ahead. If they don't, they're going to have a bad time probably, and Monaco Gambit should take it easily.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, I can agree. I like the drafts, though. This is well reasoned by both sides. I don't think there's like a huge advantage one way or another. You can see both teams have a win condition, and I expect just a solid game of Dota 2. But I would agree, EXTREUM, you need to control tempo. The lanes have to go well. If you're no one, a lot of pressure on you to perform here. You're like the sole playmaker for the team. You dictate where moves are made. So.
And perhaps because they chose Dire, they were aware that this was going to be that type of game.
Yeah, I just like the fact that we have EXTREUM picking Dire and having a clear strategy behind it. I think we need to really keep an eye on the stacks, and I want to see, 10, 11, 12 plus stacks, going into minute 15 and just really have just a big economy game coming from them.
Every ancient stack represents a hero kill of XP and gold.
That is quite daunting. So you got to get those stacks or contest the stacks. We're going to find out which one it's going to be. We're going to also find out who's going to take the first game of the series together with OD Pixel and Fogged.
Thank you very much, Steve. ASM Gambit against EXTREUM. Fogged, what do you make of the drafts here? And of really these two teams coming into this one? I mean, is it sort of 50-50 from what you're seeing? Or do you think one of the teams is going to have a bit of an uphill battle in this game?
I just feel like EXTREUM has to play very clean Dota, which a lot of the times with some of these teams, it can be a little bit of a tough task. I think that they do have a lineup that can do it though, right? This Bristleback, it is going to be very reliant on the stacks, like the panel said, and it's very reliant on Dire. I'm curious to see how much that's going to develop with all those stacks and seeing if the Bristle can actually bring it to. Because I think if they start to fall behind, I just look at the natural heroes on ASM Gambit, and they have a lot of team fight. Everything rings together perfectly. If there's not a very tanky Bristleback running into this game, I feel like EXTREUM is going to have a very tough time in those mid-game battles.
All right, and so sort of overall, how do you consider how good of a game it is for the Bristle in terms of him dying? Like, do you look at sort of damage from ASM Gambit and say, well, it's not going to be too hard for them to actually kill this hero?
It all depends on how how ahead he really does get. Like if he's able to get that Vanguard, get that Hood, something like that, or get that like Halberd, which does look like a pretty valuable Halberd pickup this game, you know, they might have some struggles, but if he starts to fall behind at all, they have overwhelming damage. Like OD is always going to be that bristle killer in some of the stages, depending on how his game goes. Kunkka always does crazy damage, and Bloodseeker's damage just increases so much throughout the fights. Like Rupture is very scary even for a hero like Bristle.
Yeah, and so how strong would you say was the closing of Extreme's draft? You know, you just said the decision to go all in on this push, get the Beastmaster. Obviously an incredibly strong hero in this patch.
Yeah.
Whereas the last, is this a game where it's like, oh, they let them get the Beastmaster? Or is it a game where you look at ASM's draft and go, well, they're not actually going to be too fussed that the Beastmaster got through because they're going to feel that they will have ways to lane and deal with it?
I think both teams are pretty happy with the way the drafts went. It's just you have to play really cleanly on Extreme because you are playing versus that Crystal Maiden, so your book is naturally going to get countered in the middle, like that mid game when you do start summoning. It's just going to get frostbit. It's going to get killed. It's going to be ignored inside those fights. It's about laning control. It's about getting ahead, controlling your ancients, controlling those stacks, and I think Beastmaster can do that, and he can also apply pressure. I saw them lacking some tower damage. And I think when you run Bristle back, he can hit towers, sure, but you want to have something that forces buildings, forces objectives, so that you can get ahead and stay ahead. Because you start to fall behind, you're not feeling good.
On top lane, the tri-lane setting up there for that first, but they'll get it. AsMonaco will now break it apart and go and obviously help his Bloodseeker down bottom. But the three of them able to find that first kill to start this game off. We're seeing the mid lane matchup. I mean, what do you expect here? It is no one on his Kunkka. Are we going to see him get a significant lead against Melo Yule's Void Spirit in the lane, or is Melo going to do okay? What do you reckon is going to come from this?
Melo has been very impressive on his Void Spirit. I think this one, I think it should go even just because of hero matchups, and I think maybe no one is just a more skilled player a little bit, but Melo has been super clutch on this hero. Every time I've seen him play for this team, he does excellent in mid lane, and his rotations are on point, and that's really what we're looking for Melo Yule this game too, is just quick rotations, get ahead, stay ahead. That's going to be really the name of the game for all of Extreme.
We'll see top lane. See how much Afterlife and Immersion can slow down Nefrit's farm. And so far...
Should be able to farm. He should just be fine up here to farm. Just with the quills, they can't actually apply too much pressure. Orb, it hurts, but you're kind of limited on mana a little bit. Even though you do have your wand charges up there, it's not as easy to apply the pressure onto a Bristle and safe lane. They're going to make sure that they block camps, though, and just... We see that Immersion already is starting to do that. And it is tough for them to get aggressive up here because there's always the Carapace. So you can't actually, make any aggressive move too much with the Bristle.
Step lively now.
See in the mid, Melo. Getting very low. How's he doing for regen? He's got the bottle. Bottle's just about to be delivered. So Melo will be able to keep himself fine in the lane.
Afterlife has missed a lot of last hits up top. He has only 5, and that's just, it's not like they've been pushing him out of lane or anything like that. He's actually he's missed significant of them. So that tri-lane at the start, maybe hurting his last hits
a bit rough,
kill,
yeah.
That's a bit rough, 5 to 14.
I mean,
it's gotten almost every single one.
Yeah, no, it's not like OD's a difficult hero to see. Also, right, you've got pretty good right click on this hero in the lane.
Yeah, I think Nefrit's just been outplaying him because Nefrit has literally missed 0 creeps, right? He's at 14-2. There's 2 creeps left. We're on wave number 4 that's there. So yeah, he's missed 0. So very good stuff from the Bristle at the start here.
What's happened here? G. No. We'll see what the reason is. Of course, it was Extreme initiating the pause here. Just had some FPS problems, but looks like maybe Gambit have some as well.
I wonder how bottom's going to end up doing, because we've been seeing this adaptation a lot. They pick the Beastmaster into the Crystal Maiden. It's also into Bloodright. Kind of a tough lane for the Beastmaster because they can just kill the boars and stuff. So he's going Axes, pretty good versus those high armor heroes too, like Bloodseeker, since it is magical. Wonder how it's going to end up doing for him. Might hurt him in the long run, but we'll maybe see him just switch up and anyway get like 2 points in the boar now, and they look to play aggressive in the lanes. But yeah, just have to be careful. You can feed a lot of gold down here.
There we go. Back on with the action. And yeah,
they get the side pull off down bottom. AsMonaco will try to prevent it, but unable to, even with the nuke. So now he's out of mangoes. He's going to have his courier here soon with the Bloodseeker, but can't get as aggressive as they'd like to. And Nefrit continuing to have perfect CS. I'm going to keep looking. 16-2. He hasn't missed one yet.
There we go. Afterlife. See how we get a few of these. Oh, no, not quite. It's definitely a slow start for him, top. And I mean, as you said, but this is, this is what Extreme needed to happen. They've got to make sure that this Bristle does have this free farming opening and is able to get those very quick items out. And so we can see his first one. It is going to be the hood that he's queuing up first.
He just missed his first last hit as well. So he's 19-3. He's literally only missed the one. Really, really solid stuff coming out from him. We see also Melojul. He's only missed like 2 last hits in this laning phase too. Some really good stuff coming out from him. Same thing from Noan and bottom. They do finally get to punish Chewin. An early point in Blood Rage. Usually I don't see this. Usually I'm seeing just make 3-4 points in Blood Rage, 2 points in Thirst. Actually goes for the early attack speed.
Well, I mean, it helped him chase for the kill there.
Yep. Very rarely see that though. That's cool. I like when people deviate a little bit outside because it is a value point. It's extremely valuable. 15% spell amp, 60 attack speed.
And we'll see Dream and SmonaCo able to keep good control and make sure that Dream doesn't miss out on any creeps here from this side pool.
Double checking the runes. 3 seconds until that goes out. No one who's going to get lucky. Immersion will be able to snag it up. G is able to spot out that invis though as this Enchantress. And have we seen any stacks? No, no stacks just yet coming out from the side of Extreme. I'm just playing strict laning phase, but it's working. Afterlife has 10 CS, Owen. This Bristle has 30.
I mean, this is the thing, right? Because I mean, we're seeing a Beastmaster down bottom. He's got 16. It's not too much more, but what is it? Just the fact that as an OD, if you're falling behind in lane, that it's just not a hero that you can recover that well on.
No, there's a lot of different things that could trip you up, and you're really about applying the early pressure and trying to get that tower, get your early meteor hammer. We saw Liquid try this one, and it ended up falling flat. Boxy did play it. He had an okay start, but he had the same problem actually. He missed tons of last hits in the laning phase. He got his meteor hammer late. It's gonna be the same thing for Afterlife as we do see Dream's career go down. Pretty big one, the boots and the Wraith Band. So they should have some better time bottom of not being chased out from this Bloodseeker now.
Absolutely, we're gonna see them be able to push Chew to the side though. This bounty rune, so we'll be able to take that away from him. And of course, over on the top side of the map, they will also manage to pick up those 2 as well.
And we will see the stacks. They are starting. G has begun the stacking for the Bristleback. No ancient stacks just yet, but we will see those probably come out for Chew pretty soon. He's just trying to make sure that Shoshlo has a good laning phase, and Shoshlo is. Afterlife still has and 14. And he's just not getting last hits on the waves.
There we go. He's gonna get these one. He's got a wave coming in. There we go.
There we go.
He's gonna have these. Seeing Immersion have a bit of difficulty here with G, pushing him away.
Good old Satyr. Yeah, good old Satyr just harassing him. We've seen a lot of times in mid lane when we used to see the OD picked a lot. Actually, we're seeing rotation. Kunkka, no one is trying to help out the top lane a bit. Nefrit, he stepped up a bit far. Should be in a lot of trouble.
Does it? And yeah, it's certainly well. With the 3 of them, they can burst through Nefrit. So a much needed move there. I mean, I think no one definitely identifying where his efforts were going to be required the most.
I like that and that had to have been one of them making that call, or just they see that he's so far under the tower. Beauty about Kunkka versus heroes like Bristleback, you can just move their positioning and make it like they're even deeper than they want to be. As SmonaCo will go down. Melo still has an astral step to work with. No one will force it though. Okay, I think G took one of the stacks himself. He used a tornado.
He did stack that middle one, so seeing as that's gone, yeah, he must have done. That must have been
G. I think and the tornado's on cooldown 40 seconds, so yeah, he must have cleared it himself.
All right, well, let's see what Nefrit does do after the hood. I mean, but does he need the Vanguard this game, or would you prefer that he skips it and goes for something a bit bigger like the Halberd?
Yeah, just go for your treads. +1, depending. Yeah. I don't know if Halberd is the right choice, because that might just be too defensive. They might have to go for something bigger, but it is a pretty value Halberd game when you're playing versus Kunkka and OD. That's Chew.
Oh, that found him.
Very far up.
He'll definitely play for this one. Not quite expecting no one and SmonaCo to come swinging back round. As off to the side, Shoshlo, he'll be out with the TP. Nothing to be able to put a stop to that.
Immersion takes the middle experience while no one starts making these rotations. Nyx definitely needing some levels this game. We are seeing Afterlife jungle up, and he still will have. He'll have the meteor hammer at a decent time, but man, it's
gonna be.
It's still pretty slow.
I was gonna say we'll have to see how much slower than the average is, because it must be behind the average, surely.
Well, it's also it's a little biased, I feel like, because there's a lot of mid ODs where they got 5-minute
that's
hammers,
true. That's
where off lane
true,
ODs
so,
can't get 5-minute meteor hammers. So it won't
That's
be it won't be an awful timing. It'll be okay, but he did miss a lot of last hits, and that's the second time I've seen it. You know, Boxy, he struggled last hitting on this hero too a bit. So seeing it a few times now as things all even out, and I feel like as AsMonaco Gambit, you have to be very happy. Laning phase, you are actually ahead in gold. You haven't been really pressured too much. You're the ones leading the kill score. And now it's just EXTREUM. They have to work on stacks to make sure that they actually get ahead to that point so they can try to dictate the pace versus this heavy team fight lineup that ASM Gambit has drafted. Immersion. The goo.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
He'll be all right.
Radiant's bottom tower is
And now
under
Mello.
attack.
He's going to get active as well.
See the jump here down bottom. So burst through Snake over the backups here for the side of ASM Gambit. No one turns with the combo. Crashes the boat straight down onto Shashlo.
Oh, I can't wait to see the Blood Rage Kunkas. I saw he immediately threw it out onto him. The spell amp even early game is absurd on top of just the attack speed. You know, Kunka, a lot of that damage is coming out from his ghost ship and stuff, so that'll be cool if he's able to get it onto him. And now lanes are broken a bit. I'm still not seeing a crazy amount of stacks, I'll be honest with you, Owen. I want to see a little bit more coming from EXTREUM. It's 9 minutes. I think they've only had like 2 or 3 of them.
And there we go. The Meteor Hammer now picked up. Gonna drop it down on G. No, but not quite enough damage to take down the Enchantress, as G will live.
But it was value. He hit the tower with it too. You know, those are the best
That's
type
true.
of meteor hammers. Gotta hit the 2 of them. As now rotation's coming, they're gonna break that bottom lane. They don't want to keep the Bloodseeker down there, and they want to be able to get this tower here, so... AsMonaco, they're the ones making that first kind of big move to pressure the tower, it feels. Which you want to have EXTREUM be doing.
No, absolutely.
Joshua
Yeah,
Hill some in the book, but yeah, this is... They got to start really pushing the issue on EXTREUM and just get those stacks going, start getting some better map control, because this is not the place you want to be in with this draft.
Radiant structures are fortified.
we'll see Nefrit move himself over to mid, starting putting pressure on. We're going to see G.
Radiant's bottom
Will
tower
be found by Immersion. They're closing the gap with no one. He's not got the X mark up, but Immersion has got some nice body blocks here, leaving no escape for G. He'll put the stick. He's still running. He's got to be careful around these creeps. If they find the angle for the Tidebringer, and he will. Drags them back.
But
No one. Does get jumped upon, but the boat's already out. He's going to have the buffer from the rum, and time's been bought for the rest of ASM Gambit to come across. They've got the full 5-man here, as they're looking for Nefrit. See if Chu can protect him. Turns with the stun onto Immersion, but Dream just chases in. As one more hit will do it. Nefrit, can he get out of it? No, Dream, he's got the movement speed. He's running down the bristle for the Remnant. It actually pulls Dream back. They're actually able to save Nefrit, as they'll keep him fine. Chu comes in with a stun to break the Meteor Hammer combo, but that won't be enough to save Melojul. So Melojul still goes down, but they do manage to save Nefrit.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That's what we were talking about, that big invasion from Gambit, is they have this big team fight composition to be able to invade versus this weak Lion Enchantress early on. They just run right through. Beastmaster didn't turn up though. Shashlo, he was farming himself. He took the bottom tower, finished his book 3, and he's like, or book 2, and he's about to actually have the book 3. So, you know, a little bit of a trade-off that he made the call for, not showing and turning up to the fight. Sacrifices Melojul. But if he's able to do a lot with the book 3, could be worth it as Nefrit.
Oh, they've got the opening. No, it's not enough damage, of course, from Immersion alone. They turn with a jump. Immersion is going to get burst down by the finger. Also, a CM ult quickly put to a stop, as the 2 supports end up walking into the full siege here of EXTREUM, and they'll lose their lives for it.
Nice little hit. ASM Gambit, though, they do keep the tower alive. They do sacrifice their 2 supports for it. But EXTREUM, they have to back away now and just go for farming rather than actually sieging a tower. So kind of a little bit of a weird trade-off where, you know, your supports die, but I don't think you're too unhappy as ASM Gambit because of that, because you did save that tower. And now you can go and punch back, as now there's no finger, no roar, and no book. So you can apply your own pressure. And these meteor hammers, they will start to really trickle down these towers. Another one down to about 550 HP. And Shashlo, he's got book 3. And now they are working on some ancient stacks for Nefrit. And I didn't see what item he did queue up. I see he has the Ogre Axe. So it's either, I don't want him to do BKB, might be needed versus OD, but it's either that BKB or that Halberd / SNY kind of strat that we've seen from these bristles. Probably SNY, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be SNY or Halberd for sure.
I think so.
I think, yeah, BKB would be, that would feel a bit rough.
Way too early. Yeah, that would be GG pretty much. Like if they just lose 2 fights with BKB, it's just game over. So yeah, definitely going to go for Halberd or SNY, as we see again. They get the mid tower and they get a kill. And Shashlo, he just continues to play around bottom for the most part as this Beastmaster.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Dream and no one getting very farmed though.
Scanning.
So Nepfrit's just going Sage into Heart.
All right, we're seeing some strength heroes do this, right? The full tanky boy. You know, the full,
Okay.
you know, as much strength as you can buy, really, as soon as you can buy it.
So my I won't wait till that, but G, again being found out, the Torrent is off the mark, the stun too, but the boat connects. They'll have the damage.
I'll drop the ult. I mean, Sonaco's going to be able to
he
farm a
gets
little
the stack.
stack, yeah.
Very nice.
He doesn't mind going down here. Got the stack, and he'll give his life for the time being brought for the rest of his team to get out of there.
And
You don't like the build?
I don't like the Heart because you're playing versus Bloodseeker, and he can just go Shard, and then he does 2% of your max health as pure damage.
Okay,
And
so
then
I
your
see.
max health
Yeah.
it goes against you pretty hardcore.
So then you're saying against the Bloodseeker that the money that you spent on a Sange and a Heart would have been better spent in just a Halberd.
Yeah, I feel like it. And also the Halberd versus OD is just super effective at all stages. And I mean, the evasion's really nice in this game, but hey, we'll see if it pays off for him. I mean, he's going to go for it. It's going to take him a long time to get there. And that's not really what their draft wants, is to wait. Their draft wants to be playing fast, getting a lead. And all this time bought, I feel like for Gambit, is just playing into their hands.
No, we'll see. I mean, maybe they feel, you know, if he can get the Heart and then, you know, this sort of Beastmaster line, you know, they've got a lot of lockdown, a lot of single target. If they can just control the Bloodseeker, then with the Sange and the Heart and the Hood, the rest of ASM Gambit are going to struggle to kill him, surely. Like, you're going to need a lot of damage to burst through that amount of HP. And do the other heroes around it offer that? Or you do think that they do offer that?
I think they will be able to, especially if they get like a Spirit Vessel. He has no way to dispel a Spirit Vessel, and they are like Immersion's going Vessel. So I feel like this Bristle build is not going to work out, as we see AsMonaco, they're smoking up, looking for the Bristle. Bit of a tough target. He is still kind of tanky. I'm going to start working on it.
And they're going to try for the setup. The hammer, straight down as the boat, over to the side. They'll take down Chu. There's no one. He's got the X on Melojul. They've got follow-up. Going to try and dodge the pullback with the Yules, and he'll be able to do so. He's still got to step in and dissimulate, so they can't chase.
Okay, and it's just an invasion play to get a ward down. Didn't actually have the damage to be able to kill the Bristle at this point. Get a nice support kill. And also, I touched on it earlier about Dream's skill build, where he got the early point in Blood Rage. He's maxed it. He only has 1 point in Blood Rage. We really don't see this. So that's a really cool adaptation that he's gone for.
All right.
He is just the carry Bloodseeker.
Yeah. And I guess, would you say sort of having the Blood Rage maxed over the Blood Rage, does that actually speed up your farming? Compared to sort of spamming the Blood Rage to clear camps? You know, just going for the boost of your right click potential?
It probably does, in a way.
With the
Depending on
Maelstrom.
how stacks and all that happen, you probably do farm faster. As Afterlife, the book 3 is able to run him down. Yeah, it's with Maelstrom, you know, you clear these camps really quick, so it's cool. 30% spell lamp, 150 attack speed, pretty crazy ability.
See Arcane Rune grabbed here for the next engagement, as they're looking to smoke up and keep playing fast. You know, if they are able to continue to play this, and they've got him perfectly locked down.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Nice little smoke coming out from the side of Gambit again. Swooping out, getting that kill. They have so much information because they have this ward that was placed around the Ancients. They even actually see the Courier pass right through it, so they know Beastmaster's down here potentially still. And they do see the Bristleback, so they know they can make any aggressive move. If they see anybody, they'll go for the kill. As now even Chu shows himself mid, so Afterlife, he's like, come here, Lion.
They're just
going to go for any kill because they're showing so much info on EXTREUM.
Chu's very, very close to the Blink Dagger, so he's going to want to make sure he's careful. As he will have that jump, and that's going to be very handy, you know, against heroes like the OD trying to set up for this Meteor Hammer combo. If it's ever not Chu that's getting gone on, he's going to be able to break that setup.
Yeah, or potentially even just burst down the Kunkka. Like they have one person control the OD, and then the Lion, either Lion control OD or the rest control Kunkka, is to prevent that ROM, prevent the save from the OD. Now they will have chances. The fights still look like they're going to be quite hard for them. They have to do a lot better execution in comparison to Gambit. Where I feel some Gambit, they could just like walk in and cast their spells. EXTREUM has a very specific way that they have to take the fights. And it's not going to get any easier, as no one... He's got a BKB about to be finished on this Kunkka, so that disable that we're talking about, they might run out of the... They might run out of the timing pretty soon.
Yeah, I don't, even if they do find the opening, it's going to be very hard to burst him. Unless they throw literally everything. Raw, finger, the whole kit onto this Kunkka. As he's very
And it's also,
tanky.
Dream also has BKB, so ASM Gambit is super ready to fight this, and they seem to be pretty aware. Look at Afterlife's position. Extreme trying to sneak, but let's see, Immersion.
Oh, they're going to go on him, but he gets the carapace off. They'll drop the boat down onto Shashlo. No one's got the Tidebringer hit coming in, as well as the Sanity's Eclipse. They take down the Beastmaster. See what they can turn for more as they have the X-Mark Torrent combo down onto G. Dream runs down the Enchantress, finishes them off as they've taken out 2. They're looking for Chu as well, as they'll have the Astral into the Hammer, as Chu also to fall slowly. I mean, he'll buy himself a little time, but the Meteor Hammer damage ticks him down, and now with Nefrit alone, he's going to try for the TP out. It's too much damage coming in too fast here by this Blood Rage Bloodseeker. DD Rune as well for no one for the next play, but a fight where they lose 4 and they don't get anything, as SM Gambit now 15 to 6, 6k lead. You know, you said at the start you needed to see Extreme hit that timing. It is starting to look like that's just not going to be possible in that moment. Even if it was there, has passed this game.
Yeah, ASM Gambit actually hit their timings. Double BKB timing all around this. They get the perfect setup where the Nyx runs in, leads the charge. He just gets astraled during the roar, and the whole fight is over from there. Extreme, they can't actually run into this gigantic squad versus with double BKB, and Spirit Vessel's done. They've got everything they need. It really feels like Extreme. They missed their timing. It's a hard draft to make work with this Bristle, but they had to stack more. They're going to get some of these little trade kills, but the big team fights are going to be so complicated for them to actually...
Dashlo, again? But this time he might get away with at least not losing his life for it. But Immersion very quick on the spike carapace each time Shashlo tries to go for a roar.
They're just farming his book, though. That's Seneko killed the book the last fight, got a nice like 300 gold. Now the Kunkka just killed the 2 of them off, got another 300 gold for him. Immersion.
Dream with the rupture. Bloodbright Silence as well. He needs help. He needs it now. He's taking a lot of damage. And indeed, Ruptured, he's got nowhere to go. He'll jump to the side. He'll try and run as the Rupture ends. But Afterlife's got the catch. Astral's down, holds him in position. As Dream able to claim another. No one already sweeping in from the side. He's running down Shashlo. With his haste rune.
He knows how strong he is. Look at this.
Shashlo can't do anything against this. No roar, nothing to put a stop to him. As no one just goes charging in. 8-0-4. You know, he is indeed a very, very strong Kunkka player, and we're seeing him have a very good game here. No problems at all so far here for no one.
No, he's fixed the problems that was happening with ASM Gambit, right? Like the top situation where the OD was having struggles, no one made the quick rotation, saved the lane. He's really been the one that's just been doing everything, it feels like, for ASM Gambit. Him and Immersion are just leading the charge, finding all these kills. Not letting Extreme have any hope in this game, as it's an 8k gold lead, and just it really does feel like it's just gonna get worse and worse from here for this poor Bristleback, who he's gonna get his heart, but I feel like it's gonna just play into ASM Gambit. There's still no shard purchased for Dream, at least, but I think as soon as he sees that, he'll buy a shard.
Mid lane. Are they going to be able to get Seneko? Well, with the finger, they certainly will. Better money for Nefrit. Now, will be his heart. Interesting to see what he goes after the heart, though. Like, what?
I don't know.
What could he go to sort of redeem the game? Like, what? Just some straight damage item? I mean, what are you buying on this carry Bristle to?
Do you go AC? Do you go Abyssal? Like, I don't know, because he has 8 armor too, so it's like he's tanking from the back, but if he starts getting him in the front, even by Bloodseeker or Kunkka, that damage is gonna hurt. Like, he has to solve so many different problems. That's the thing. It's like, that's why these carry Bristles can sometimes just fall flat if they don't have a huge lead.
I mean, I think you're right. I think Abyssal would be the best option to have sort of an aggressive impact in the fights, but I feel like he's going to be tempted to just go for sort of the S&Y or even a BKB. You know, dread it, but we'll see. We'll see what way Nefrit feels that he needs to go now.
It just doesn't feel good anything he really gets.
No,
right? Like
it's hard.
BKB, it might feel decent because it helps him survive, but is he actually going to kill anybody? I feel like their damage is just going to be gone then. If he goes Abyssal, then he has chances of just dying.
I think he's got to be damage. Yeah, but at least he can get the jump, you know.
Yeah.
And have the chance to just sort of spam his spells and punch into someone and fight back.
Not an easy choice.
No.
At least Dream, for him, you know, Dream still does not have the shard. He does not have that Blood Rage shard, so the Bristle will be tanky versus that Bloodseeker still a bit.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
He'll get the catch.
Well, they'll have the kill here. Actually blowing the roar. He might be able to bring down the OD with the summons, but no, the Tidebringer clears him out. Afterlife's going to be fine, and yeah, unfortunately for Shasta, just another roar that's not really been able to achieve much here this game.
No, and he played a lot for his own game. You know, he played bottom for the first like 15 or so minutes before swinging to help his team, and yeah, he's 1-4. He hasn't had the best impact in the game either.
Yeah, things have really sort of turned around. You know, Afterlife, after having a pretty rough start farming in the lane, he's having a much greater time playing this OD from the offlane 3-1 and 7, and you know, as we've seen, he's been finding some great catches in these mid-game fights.
They're just doing much better team moves, while EXTREUM, it's all about like these single people making these attempts. Like Melojul and Chul, they go with a 2-man attempt onto Dream, but
that's getting rough.
They don't have Finger. They used it earlier, so they don't have the damage by any means, and Gambit just swings with multiple heroes. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot better team play coming out from Gambit today. EXTREUM, they looked pretty split up in this game. Things really fell apart pretty quickly, and now it's just, you can see them just really all over the places. Nefrit will queue up the AC.
Okay.
I thought it has to be one of these options, but it just doesn't feel great.
No, I mean, I guess that is the thing, right? Anything that you would have gone for now would have been a bit meh.
Yeah, and he's stalked already. Immersion's on top of him with the OD. They've got Spirit Vessel at the ready. They've got Shivas even on Kunkka too, so HP regen reduction. Nefrit.
Let's see what they can do. Still a DD going as well on no one. So drag Nefrit back. Let's see if this Sanjin Heart can buy him enough time for backup to come in. As it is buying time. He will live.
55 HP per second through Vessel and Shivas. That's kind of nuts.
Let's see Dream. He's going to try and chase down kills here with the BKB. Turning for G. See if he can quite finish this off as G will indeed go down. Now, see who Dream wants to turn towards. They're actually giving some space here to the Bristle. So holding back once more in the river. They'll take down Chu. There's now 4 versus the 3. See if ASM Gambit can get another catch. Torrent, not quite going to clip Nefrit, so Nefrit will live. I mean, he is tanky. He is tanky.
He's like 100 HP regen before he's hit by everything. When he has the Vessel and the Shiva's effect on him, it's still 56 per second or 53 per second. It's still pretty damn high. And he did pick up the plate mail, so he's a little tankier. Yeah, he's a bit of a problem to kill, but he's not really dishing any damage out at all.
Straight to the bottom with you.
As the rest of his team is starting to get run down, but they do find Immersion for a second.
So they can burst him. Well, not quite. The Spike Carapace comes out in time. They turn with the bow, and Melojul's going to lose his life for that attempt. Shashlo, he pops the roar out onto Afterlife, but there's no follow-up. And Shashlo's just going to go down once again.
They can't even get Immersion. These few times, it looks like they might get a trade kill or something, but they end up losing 2 cores, and then Gambit just chasing for more. Can't quite catch anything else, but yeah, nothing going the ways of EXTREUM, it feels like this game.
Gambit looking on very good form here so far with this opening game.
Yeah, and I like their itemization a lot, what they've gone for in this one. Just early BKBs, good damage with the armlet, and then just all about addressing the bristleback, Spirit Vessel, Shivas, etc. As Dream still hasn't bought a shard. I'm very surprised he hasn't on this Bloodseeker, but he's just going for his own other items. As a version.
This time he should die.
This time he should go down.
That will put a stop to the push from ASM Gambit. But, you know, again, not necessarily a team that's in a rush this game. Of how well their cores are farming. Dream and no one in particular still in a very solid spot. No one very, very close to having the acronyms done.
The fun. As he's got both the Torrent talents as well, so he's very prepared to have that. That's going to make these fights pretty impossible, because there's no BKBs on the horizon even for the side of EXTREUM, except, I mean, Beastmaster's BKB, but that's way later on. And this Torrent Storm is going to be really effective. Team fights have already been pretty impossible for EXTREUM. Throw that into the mix. Oof.
And we'll see Nefrit finding the Paladin sword, so it's going to get an extra bit of benefit from all this health regen. Now up to 110 HP per second.
I think Dream may have forgotten about his shard, I'll be honest with you, because it's just such a value shard pickup on the Bloodseeker versus this Bristle, but he's still not buying it.
I mean, is it effectively now at this stage more damage than the Skadi if you take into account the reduction of the HP regen that the Skadi's going to allow him to do with the hits?
I guess if he's affected by all of them, right, they don't stack additively, they stack multiplicatively, so it'll be less effective.
2% of the target's max health is pure damage. So how much is 2% of Bristle's HP? That's what? 1% is 3.55. Wait, no, it's 35. Yeah, so you're right. So it's about...
Yeah, I'm saying that, yeah.
So it's 70 pure damage per hit. Which... I don't know, I feel it's not as impressive as it sounds. But maybe it is. I don't know.
They're getting the lockdown actually on Dream. His Aegis is expiring in about a minute. They will get the kill on Immersion. Onto Sineko.
No one's coming in though. I get the boat crashing down onto G. The Torrent Storm's out. And this time around, ASM Gambit, they are the ones that have to run. Dream's not in fighting condition, as he's already very low. As they will have to respect Extreme in here. And no one.
Oh, no one?
He might not actually get away. They get the grab here with the Remnant. See if they can take him out as they jump in. They're actually able to move over towards Afterlife as well. No one trying his best with the armlet toggles.
Toggling?
It's not enough though. No one goes down. Extreme actually able to find a very, very good hit back here against ASM Gambit.
They can't actually kill the Bristle. He's actually just running right through them. And now we do have Mellow Jewel. He's gotten his Ags. He's actually gotten a decent timing on his items, even though he's had such a rough game. He's able to apply a lot of damage in that fight. Wow.
I mean, maybe it's working.
He's gonna get reclaimed.
Just this full, the full tanky boy Bristle.
Maybe. He also gets the level 20 talent too. So look at this, 140 HP per second. It was 100 before, but now with Paladin Sword and that talent, jumps up even more.
I mean, it is a lot of HP per second.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Well, let's see that. They're going up to the base.
High ground.
Yeah. He's going to have the AC and a couple of 100 gold.
All right, now it's like, even though it's a 9k advantage on Gambit, now the pressure's a little bit onto you because this Bristle's just pretty unkillable, and they're smoked on the side waiting to catch somebody here on Extreme. They pop the drum. And they're going to go for the snag while no one's still dead.
They get the jump onto Immersion. Defensive Astral being used, but they're losing their axe.
They really are.
It is working. Choose in with the burst. They're able to blow up Immersion.
Oh my god.
The Ranger axe are gone. Can Nefrit stick around for more? Buyback will come out. They're looking for the setup onto Nefrit. Going to come back into the Torrent. Can they actually kill him, though? He is out of mana. This Dream will be hexed. Grabbed by the Remnant as well. Boat coming down. They're going to put the BKB in. Yeah, with everything thrown down, there they can kill him. It takes a lot, but it gets the job done. And, of course, as soon as the Bristle's gone, everyone else at Extreme has to run. Mellow Jewel going for the TP out, but they've caught him.
Oh.
They'll find the angle. Stuns are out, and they'll also manage to take down the Void Spirit. So it takes a lot, but they can get the job done, and they will keep the melee rack safe. So what we got here?
Let's read this.
120 is for 206 damage right now. After 40% barrier select disruption, it's 122 damage. 19 armor gives 53% damage reduction.
So yes, he should buy it, is what I read.
Okay, so you're saying he's hitting for 58 damage. The shard would give him pretty much the plus 70 pure damage to be hitting for 120.
It also, I think people forget, it heals you also for whatever you hit for.
Yeah,
it heals you for a lot.
Yep.
So you can stand your ground. So, I mean, either way, he's going to go for Scotty. It's still a good pickup versus all this HP reduction. You know, I still think it's a very valuable pickup for him to get the shard. He's omitting from it. And they still do have the ways to deal with Bristle. We're seeing Afterlife. He still is able to do crazy damage versus him, but
let's have a look. Because also, so Mr. Stat Person. So then you're hitting the Bristle for 120 damage, but the Bristle has 140 HP regen. So how much will the Skadi take away from that 140 HP regen? So the health regen...
You have to assume that the Skadi is not being applied if he's being applied by Vessel and by the other one, because they don't stack additively, they stack multiplicatively, so it actually becomes less effective when he has Skadi effect and Vessel and Shiva's on the Bristle, you know what I mean?
Are you sure they don't stack additively for regen reduction?
There's no way you can get to 100% HP reduction.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you get what I mean? Yeah.
But, so it's 40% reduction. So what's 40% of 140? That's 10, 104, so it's like 56, so 56 minus that. So he's going to be down. So you're taking 56 HP regen away. So
I can't believe we're actually just doing the math right now.
So then you're effectively doing an additional 56. You could say you're doing 56 more pure damage. Well, I guess it depends how frequently you're hitting him. Are you hitting more than once per second? You are hitting more than once per second. So then, yeah, the Shard would be better than the Skadi in damage. But then you're getting more damage from the stats of Skadi. So you're adding a plus 20.
Cheese to everything. It's
probably close. It's probably close.
They find no one, but they have the Astral immediately. Nefrit. Get controlled. They get the roar.
He's going to roar no one for now. And no one did have the BKB off in time. So he's able to get his spells off. They've lost Melojul. No one's able to step out to the side. He's going to get away. And now can they turn and kill Nefrit? Chu offers up a good stun from the side, catching the two of them, but the torrent's already out.
The Astral.
It did. It saved him from the burst of the finger. Keeps Immersion alive. As now they'll look to run him down. Dream is going to go for Shashlo first. Shashlow's the easy one. No BKB left and the bash is coming in. Shashlo will go down. And they've got the catch. As they're holding Nefrit in position. Can they kill him? Let's have a look here. They drag him back.
They sure can.
And they will be able to getting round to the front of the Bristol. They'll smash him in the face.
They even got the roar on no one on the low ground, but Melojul got so split up in the fight. I think he just gets ruptured and just gets focused down, and Bloodseeker Basher comes into play, where he's able to just control Melojul. And yeah, Bristleback may be tanky, but we're really seeing he's just not doing the damage. He's able to just stand and run around inside the fights, but they just kite him, mana burn him, astral him, mana burn astral. And the poor Bristle can't actually stick on targets. They need Melojul to be the damage applier.
Skadi is, it's going to be done here. It's going to go for finishing the Abyssal after the Skadi.
Yep.
So still yet to see if he's forgotten about the Shard, because that'll be the route. Once he has the Skadi and the Abyssal, if he doesn't get the Shard then you can definitely say he's forgotten about it.
Yeah, probably.
Because then there's literally nothing else to buy. Well, other than Moon Shard and eating an Aghanims. But that, you know, that would definitely not come before picking up a Shard on the Bloodseeker, so we'll see.
I like how we were comparing a 5,000 gold item to a 1,400 gold item. It's my favorite.
Oh, that's true. Well, you didn't mention that. We've got to mention all the factors into the argument. That's true. And then absolutely the Shard is a million times better. You just won the argument with that one fact that we totally glossed over. That wins the argument. Yeah, it's 1,400 gold. Yep, and it doesn't take up an item slot. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
There's definitely merit.
So yeah, that whole, you're absolutely right. So there's no contest.
Gambit doesn't need it though, right? You know, that's what they're showing.
I guess that's what they're showing.
They probably understand just the idea of the game too. Is probably what they're always just thinking about in this game. It's just like, we're playing versus Bristleback. They haven't hit their timing. We've hit our timing. We're in a great, comfortable spot. We don't need to worry so much about all these little, tiny, nitty-gritty things at this point. And we're just playing a game of Dota versus a lineup that's supposed to snowball, and they didn't.
Yeah, it's a 21k ahead right now. Very comfortable here, SM Gambit. A little bit of a hiccup there in that one fight that they did lose, but other than that, just getting further and further ahead. Well, hang on. Melo's got to get out of here. There's a lot up on the high ground. Dream. He's wrapping around from the side. He's going to start with the Rupture.
He got the Rupture again.
Onto Melojul. That's going to limit what Voice Spirit can really do. He's out to the side with the Dissimulate. As Nefrit, he's going to be the focus. They're moving in on him. And they're bringing him down pretty quickly. He's down to half HP. Now drop the ult. They're trying to turn and burst through the Bloodseeker, but Dream, he's still good to go. As Nefrit will go down, Dream can now turn towards his next target as he's over towards G. G to also fall. As now the rest of Extreme, and they've got to run. They've got to get out of here. Melojul, but that Shard Dissimulate is off to the side.
She hits him. The Carapace connected on himself.
Wait, how did the... Yeah, what did it... What? Because he didn't jump anywhere near the Nyx Assassin. What damage? Oh, the Cloak of Flames, dude.
Oh,
nice spot there from Scriff. Thanks for that.
Oh my God. It still looked like he was out of range of it, but wow, that actually clips him, and yeah, he's brought down because of it now.
That's... I mean, after seeing that, I think, yeah, take the Cloak of Flames on a Void Spirit in a game against Nyx Assassin, that's kind of a... you probably don't want that neutral item anymore. You know, yeah, this ain't no Radiance. You can't toggle it. As we'll see it again here, just you know, he lives for a long time, but pretty much, you know, 90% of the fights we're seeing them still be able to bring him down.
Yeah.
The Bristol can't quite do it at this point.
Mello was ruptured the entirety of it, right? He was ruptured the whole time on that right side. He just couldn't get in to actually do anything. He has to just watch the Bristle, and then the Torrent Storm is flying. They can't walk in with their supports because that's like the ultimate counter to poor supports in the game.
There we go, look.
It's now to the base.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Must have been just on the edge of the radius of the Cloak of Flames.
Right? Yeah. That was crazy how it connected. The Shashlo trying to buy some time for his team. He will be able to BKB TP out.
Hey, and he's got the shard.
He bought it? Okay, so he didn't forget.
He didn't forget. He just didn't feel the necessity to have it earlier in his build, and absolutely understandably, you know, they're smashing the game so far. So now he has got it. Now life is going to be, as we've been discussing, very, very hard for the Bristol. It's going to be a good damage increase against this tanky boy.
Man, no one is so rich.
I mean, he's had a great game, right? Only died the once. 10, 1 and 15.
Got two level 25s as well. Yeah, they're all massive. Like even Afterlife, after a bit of a rough lane, like we said, you know, missing those last, 5 1 and 12. He's huge as well.
Nice.
And his saves have been pretty on point, except like maybe one Astral. I think he messed up in the mid lane, but besides that, he's been always in the right place to be able to back up and stop like the roar aggression that's been coming out from EXTREUM.
Minotaur Horn as well for no one of the nicer ones as the Kunkka.
And Dream has a full Abyssal now too, 11, 0, and 8. Nefrit, he's actually shown himself outside the base. He could just die out here.
He's looking very dead. And we are indeed seeing, you know, those hits definitely doing that a little bit more now with the shard going. As they can just run them down one by one with the Bristol gone. There isn't much at all for them to fight around, and they're going to call it. They know it's gone kind of far past the point that their lineup would have been able to hit the timing. As ASM Gambit, a very good showing here in this first game, as they really didn't give any chances for EXTREUM to get the momentum going early at all. They got ahead pretty much off the back of the laning stage, and smooth sailing. Very relevant as well for Mr. No One on his Kunkka. Had a brilliant game as anticipated. You know, one of his most solid heroes. And we really did see that here again.
Yeah, he owned. And I feel like EXTREUM, a few things that just went a little bit wrong in the game, but you could definitely see like where it could have worked, right? If they had some faster timings down that Bristle back, like he could have just led the charge and they could have absolutely taken the game. But I think just too many things went wrong in that early game. I think honestly, No One, he broke that early game so badly. His rotations were all on point. Every single one of them worked out for the first like 15 minutes. So EXTREUM, they need to play a little bit crisper if they're going to go for these timing lineups, which can be a little tougher to play.
No, for sure. Yeah, ASM Gambit, they just knew exactly how to shut that down and give no chances at all for EXTREUM to get things going in their favor, as they really did sort of hold the advantage for the whole of this game. ASM Gambit, as they will take this first game of the series against EXTREUM.
It will be exciting to see if they can make a comeback in the second game of this best of 3. But first, let's break down that first game of the series, and we'll do that after a break.
Spirit, I think their chances were going to be really low because he could pretty easily get out of Kunkka drama because of using either Astral Step or Dissimulate or something like that. Here they are going for some rune control, but eventually the disable comes forward with level 2 Frostbite. That buys time. The silence hits on Beastmaster, preventing him from roaring. No one gets a full combo off. Again, another successful rotation on the side. This one, they're going for prepping for bounty runes here. He does a little bit of a fake go on the Bristleback with the X Torrent, but with this Observer Ward, they spot that Enchantress is playing in the area, and they have Crystal Maiden rotate over as a result. They end up following up the disable on G. They eventually do get this kill with a nice blast, and then they take a big fight here. And at this point, the game's still pretty even, but what's very important is that Bristle's not getting kills in these fights. They cover each other extremely well. Banish allows no one to get away. They get a Torrent follow-up, some damage goes in. Rupture basically stops Melojul from being able to do anything at the start of the team fight. He eventually gets into that, but ultimately, no one ends up dying except for Melojul on the Void Spirit. So all of these great rotations from no one served a huge purpose. They even had this fight mid that didn't look that great for AsMonaco Gambit, but what importantly happened was no one was focusing these neutrals and the catapult. He ends up taking away all of these creeps, so even though EXTREUM does win this fight, they have to leave despite rotating all of their heroes. Then Afterlife comes mid, gets 2 Meteor Hammers off on the tower. Oops, excuse me. Both of his the stun attempts by Melojul fail, so they're not able to stop the Meteor Hammer. They get both of those off, and as a result, they get the tower out against the enemies, even though their opponents pressured better. So basically, this early game win that they had makes sure the Bristleback doesn't do much and buys them time to get those big items to help them counter him at the end of the game.
Yeah, the strategy for EXTREUM definitely didn't work in this first game. I'm hoping that they're going to come with something different for game number 2. And we are ready for game number 2, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after a break. traps already, T.
Whew. We got an Elder Titan. And
We do.
the Dire again. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
What happened to the lights? Did the sun already set?
No, he lost it, right? So lights go off when you lose. Gotta focus up.
Is that what happens?
Yep, pretty much. But I think the key thing as well is Extreme the Dire once again. And they are now picking even more heroes to play into the idea of kind of farming the jungle, the neutral items, the gold. You know, ET secures these areas, IO enables the farm. So interesting that Extreme are so kind of not stubborn, but so passionate for this this play style.
I just don't know what to make from the ET so early. It's very interesting to see it it's picked up so readily.
It makes me think there's maybe a pocket strat. You know, if they don't win this game, they are guaranteed not going major. They gotta try something.
I agree to an extent. I think that it's one of those heroes that has potential to be used as an opener for the flex value. We've seen Secret run it offlane, seen it run offlane in China a couple of times. I think as a support, it's very solid. You've seen LOA over on Quincy Crew loves to play it as a support. So it also provides a ton of damage amplification, which I'm a huge fan of, and it's strong in lane. So it has the tools of a hero to open with.
Yeah, I just look at Extreme though, and all I'm thinking about is like, make stacks, have strong lanes, fight, and go. And that's kind of like their playbook for the entirety of DPC. And when I see like a keeper light support, the reason why it's so strong is it's their presence in the mid game, bringing everyone around. You can push out your wave if it's too hard to play, but you can't enter like a 1v1 with this position 4 or this kind of ET style hero. So it is kind of Extreme just really focusing on, we want to have strong lanes, enable our farm game, and don't allow our opponent to have a good time to be able to invade with confidence like they did in that previous game where they just happily, minute 10, they were just in Extreme's jungle.
Yeah, we have seen them play Elder Titan twice this DPC league so far. Both times it was their position 4. This will be their first IO in the DPC league though.
If there's a small chance of this, but if it does end up being an IO core, the main benefit of it is doing lots of magic damage from range. ET can facilitate that just by throwing his spirit out, and that could be a huge increase because that's like a 33% damage increase by spirit damage on enemies if they don't have any other magic resistant sources. So it could be pretty huge if that ends up happening.
Yeah.
Dire team ban.
I do like the coddle though. Wisp in theory is quite nice against it just because you can play really fast and you counteract the global mobility by always threatening to relocate. The nerfs to recall actually kind of line up with the nerfs to relocate as well in terms of the duration it'll take to get people across map.
I guess another thing as well, like you just mentioned, you now have kind of like a mirroring style where ET and Nits can be kind of bullies in laning phase to some degree, and then you both have teams with kind of that global potential of getting into the fight, right? So at least kind of on paper, the game plan is somewhat even.
There's one big difference regarding the global presence of both squads, though. Obviously, Keeper of the Light doesn't need to be with the pairing, and he can also have he has a way shorter cooldown than the relocate of the IO, who has to be with his relocate target.
I guess then if you want to go like one layer deeper, it's then also the fact that one provides a farm accelerant, being the IO, one doesn't. So I like the fact that Extreme, they are coming into this series with a little bit of creativity to the idea they are really leaning on their own game plan rather than changing too much for their opponent. A lot of teams in this position will often overthink their opponent and think, okay, maybe I have to block pick this. It happened yesterday. The team that lost, they were block picking Void Spirit, banning out Death Prophet. If Death Prophet's of it, you know, like they were really forcing Toronto Tokyo to feel uncomfortable. It didn't pay out. Here you can see Extreme just focus completely on themselves, but it does offer up Gambit to have the best support during the game, in my opinion, right now. Just keep it like Nyx. These two together, it just ticks so many boxes.
I don't know. They stuck to the concept though that they've really liked to utilize. We even heard G say, you know, the heart feels like a really broken item in the right cases. Gambit were just straight up prepared. Like they understood what they were getting into, and it wasn't as if they had any kind of hard counters. You know, it's one thing if you beat a Bristleback with like a Viper, but they had no break. They just outplayed and stacked anti-healing or anti-regen. Whereas this game, I think Extreme, they're going to go for a different concept, but this isn't going to be like some crazy pocket. It's just going to be what is considered a good strategy. Like, again, ET Wisp, maybe it's weird to see in the opener, but both these heroes are very meta right now, just perhaps underpicked, but it's all about what they're going to finish with, and I'm glad they brought more than one concept to this game, but this is already so much damage amplification. Consider Tether giving Spell Amp, or Overcharge giving Spell Amp now. Add that to removing all of your magic armor. There's a lot of combinations that can look really cool.
does require a good level of execution. If you're talking about because we always say, no, ease of execution is a big factor here. If you're looking at ease of execution, maybe a little bit easier and maybe also more forgiving is that the opening 2 of AsMonaco Gambit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's harder for EXTREUM to rotate right now. I think that all their cores are going to need to be like gank disabler type heroes, at least in some fashion. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to get on the board.
I like the fact, though, like what you just mentioned, the flip side as well is EXTREUM, they're heroes that even if they don't move around the map, you don't really want to move into their lanes either. Like, ganking a puck, you feel pretty bad unless you have some really good lockdown, like an instant hex. Ganking an ET, you know, he has Stomp, he has this extra armor from his spirit, he's going to feel pretty confident. And that's where this Nyx can feel slightly out of place. I think from these bans, though, from EXTREUM, the Timbersaw, Enigma, Bristleback, these are all heroes that would happily like to play into a core IO. So I kind of have a feeling that this might be a pocket strat coming out from EXTREUM. And Gambit.
Core IO is not a pocket strat.
No, but like for EXTREUM.
For EXTREUM it is.
They've not played it for 3 months, mate.
I don't
3
think
months.
we've seen
Support.
Nefrit play it at all.
Exactly.
Okay, I used to have a different definition of pocket strat in my head. That's like we're gonna run some sort of crazy combination.
No,
Level
that's
1
a
Roche.
cheese.
Level 1 Roche is
That's
pocket
cheese.
strat.
That's cheese. Pocket strat is
Pocket
like
strat
something.
is cheese.
This is a team-specific
No.
pocket strat.
Yeah.
If they
If it
pull
is,
out
cool.
Visage mid last pick, that's a pocket strat.
That's
if they have
cheese.
it with.
But that's you're generalizing everything into one big bubble of
Pocket
everyone
strat-
playing evenly. You know?
Guys, I don't
cheese
care
can
about
be a
this
pocket
argument.
strat, but a pocket
That's
strat
true,
is
Purge.
not
I don't
always
either,
cheese.
but it's just fun to talk with Carl, I guess.
These are 4 meta heroes, guys. It's just
Chunko makes a lot of sense against IO anyways.
That's true.
X somebody that's getting relocated out makes it a little bit easier to hunt puck as well.
Yep.
Good
It's
and bad.
no one. Once again, this is like the ultimate no one hero because you both scale, lane well, and find kills. And is that G?
Yep.
Lost in thought.
The
camera's moved.
the camera's moved a little bit
no,
further.
there he is.
Oh.
He's back. Hello.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Yeah, also for Gambit, you know, just matching the team fight with this Kunkka. He played so well in the previous game. And if it is going to be this puck mid, you're going to be able to deal with him very well with Kunkka. Kunkka is actually one of the counters to puck. There's probably like 3 or 4 heroes that thrive in the matchup. Kunkka, of course, is one of them.
Now we do still have cores banned out by AsMonaco Gambit. We have the Monkey King banned out, and EXTREUM is banning out the offlaners, or rather the OD at least, which we saw, of course, be very successful for Afterlife previous game. And they'll probably want to remove an extra offlaner there too.
Yeah.
Beastmaster is still in the pool, by the way.
Yeah, for EXTREUM, they've set themselves up to be able to flex this IO to the very end. Of course, they're second pick. So for Gambit right now, it's just rounding out their draft with this offlaner that's going to be able to provide them the team fight or the kind of the nuisance factor. Because no matter what, this IO is going to be in your safe lane, be it the carry or the position 5. And I think that alone is easy enough to counter. For example, the OD, the Imprison, you don't really ever shut him down. Unless it was like an IO Weaver playing into an OD, but clearly EXTREUM don't want the Weaver because they wouldn't be banning out an OD in this scenario.
It's an interesting point about the Weaver that it hasn't been banned yet here.
Yep.
Could be okay. It's a little bad against Nyx, I think, and definitely weak against Kunkka.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
And Wraith.
IO just
Yeah.
gives all this mobility, and they have that counter. Like it's amazing that Kunkka fits so well into the draft. Honestly, it just feels like it already counters what they
Instant
want.
Viper.
God. It counts natural order removed from the ET. Tide Hunter also
Well,
gets
if he's
cracked shell
standing
taken
in it.
away.
Their lineup's so
It's just
tanky.
gross.
They
And
ha- yeah, they have strong lanes.
You really like having a ranged hero, preferably with some kind of wave clear with the Nyx, and Viper is just perfect. This is such a nasty draft. Like, very standard, but very solid. And EXTREUM, you kind of need...
They have like 20 seconds to pick this
You need
hero.
a pocket strat, right?
They gotta
What's the
have
pocket?
something
Well, the
prepared.
IO
What's in
They
the pocket?
wanted to go.
IO's in the pocket, and now they're like, get out my
second pick.
pocket.
They
I don't
have
want you.
to have
Ooh.
something in mind. It's gonna be Ember Spirit.
Okay, I need to see what players pick the heroes, but I still like yeah, I prefer Gambit's draft. It is so clean, ticks all the boxes, have all the meta heroes. What are they going for? Offlane Tide. It is a core
IO.
The pocket EXTREUM strat of a carry IO.
4-position puck.
I'm skeptical about how strong this is. Laning into a Viper, playing into
Okay.
the hard counter of Wraith King
The
Kunkka.
concept is IO ET in the laning phase. We talked about IO Tusk as a possibility for the same reasons. If this lane absolutely dumpsters top,
If.
Nyx Viper, which
Yep.
that's a big if,
Yep.
then they've got a pretty decent shot. I am very concerned otherwise, although Melodrol should do A-okay against Kunkka mid.
What do you think, Purge?
I think that IO ET will do fine against Viper Nyx, frankly, because Viper's really slow in the off lane. He doesn't like getting ran out. Yeah, he can remove natural order from Elder Titan, but like ET's going to get mega buffed with like 50 attack speed once he gets overcharged. I feel like they should be able to deal with Viper if they can force him into fighting. He'll probably nether toxin out waves, but it's very easy to look at Gambit's lineup and be like, this is an amazing draft. Like, I would craft this, like, what's the 5 heroes I'd love to have on the same team? It's their draft, and they managed to get it. So I think it's easier to predict Gambit here. But EXTREUM has some things that they could do. Maybe they'll cheese him. Who knows?
All right. How about you, T?
I just think the key thing is this IO ET lane has to go well, and they need to be able to run into the Wraith King and kind of dodge out the Kunkka quite a few times. If the IO gets to like a good BKB timing with like Ags, Heart, that kind of thing, sure, you can kind of stomach the amount of team fight that Gambit has, but it's all about IO kind of dodging this Kunkka the entire time, because if no one has those key rotations, you don't feel the threat of what this skirmishing lineup can feel.
Is it a little bit the same as previous game, where you kind of have to have EXTREUM, like they have this one set strategy that they got to execute, otherwise they're out?
They have to be ahead. Like, team fighting is going to be a pain. They need really great Ravages. Top lane has to go well, I want to reiterate, because no one at any point can just show up and kill things.
Yeah, and he actually means no one, the player.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
If Ember starts making the rotation first, forces no one to react, then suddenly you react one way, you gank another lane, you're never going to have to Kunkka ever on the map. So it's all about the Ember as well.
Whew, looks like EXTREUM has got their work cut out for them if they want to force this to a third game. Let's see how they do here in game number 2, together with ODPixel and Fogged.
Thank you very much, Steve. Yeah, Fogged, what do you sort of make out of this? Do you think it's going to be another tough one here for EXTREUM, or do you see a potential here that's stronger for them than the potential that they had in game 1?
I really thought they'd ban the Viper when they had the Tide. I think they banned like Bloodseeker. I really thought they would ban this Viper, but I think they let it through. It's gonna break the Tidehunter, who's that way to just like protect versus the team fights and all like that. And I don't know, carry IO, not feeling too fortunate for it when it's versus like Wraith King and Kunkka. It does not feel easy for Nefrit, even in like even if he gets his farm. I feel like it looks super hard. Like, what do you do to Kunkka and Wraith King?
The battle
they're going to be some very beefy heroes, and one of them with 2 lives. So we'll see. See if Nefrit's going to be able to offer up the damage that you're going to need to kill that sort of hero.
Oh, Immersion. He might actually die though to just getting chased down. That's gonna make Mellow Jewel. He's like, wait, I don't want to be here. I just killed Chains. Oh my goodness, now I'm Chains Ember Spirit. And now Immersion just gonna TP out in front of him.
All right.
Okay. That is pretty devastating. And we see both teams, they are trying to scout lanes out. We see these deep wards coming out from both sides, trying to dodge some matchups. Gambit, they're running the aggro tri-lane. And now we're seeing the IO and the ET, they run bottom to avoid that aggro tri-lane. Tidehunter is gonna go top. And this is gonna be a little painful for EXTREUM to switch things up. And they still Chains level 1 on the Ember Spirit. So his mid lane, it won't be nearly as good as you want it to be, because you ideally want to have like the Flame Guard versus the Kunkka, so you can force that lane in. And knowing he's an expert of this matchup, I feel like he's going to have an excellent time again.
That's true. Yeah, because you're saying to the point where you wouldn't really want to be getting Chains at any of the early levels in this, but you would have wanted to go full Slight Flame Guard?
I maybe, honestly, like... you never want to have Chains level 1. That's the only thing that doesn't really help you at all. So
it's just if it's going to be any use anyway in the levels, right? Because are you ever going to be wanting to make an aggressive attempt onto the Kunkka and holding him down? It doesn't feel like it, right? There's never going to be a use for Chains in any of these early levels.
No, and Kunkka can't break Flame Guard. Once you get level 2 Flame Guard, he can't pop it. He has to have like level 3 Torrent, which is just never going to happen in the laning phase. So yeah, this will hurt him quite a bit here in this matchup, I feel. Top, we see the switch around coming on. The Viper goes top. IO, I feel like IO doesn't enjoy this at all, playing versus Viper, because you have no way to push lanes out. I was feeling the same if they did the IO ET top. They have no way to push this lane out, and I feel like Viper's just going to free farm, and Nyx is going to stop pull. So these lanes just feel tough for EXTREUM again.
Well, let's see. I mean, what about this bottom lane? Is this still not necessarily a great one for them? I mean, they do have the Tide against the Wraith King, which is something that you like, right?
Yes. It's not bad. Shashla should be able to get his farm pretty decently down here. I don't know how much they're going to be able to slow down Dream with a Coddle behind. I think Coddle enables the Wraith King a lot, because it resets the stun and the crit as well, which is really nice. But it's really going to be dependent on what G can do. We watch the ET, if he can get stacks, if he can get good spirits and wrap around, they could kill Seneko with like a gush and some right clicks very easily.
Oh, Melo's got to be careful, Mint. He's getting very low. And well, level 4's just been hit. And no one... Oh, actually whipping the combo.
He whipped the timing.
A bit of a rare mistake there from No One's Kunkka.
He may have just gotten the kill with that too. Either way, he's going to get some extra denies, and Mellow Jewel's life is still quite miserable. But he will get the bottle at least and not die, so that's cool.
Oh, we'll see her again. As, yeah, just needed to grab him back a bit sooner than he did.
Yep. Bit of a mistake. He's going to give him the tip for it anyway, but he knows he's destroying that matchup as bottom. We see G get a little bit over-aggressive. Has to be a little careful on the ET, as we will see. Dream just goes for 2 points in the Vampiric Spirit, so he's feeling a little pressured. It doesn't go for the crit, just wants to sustain. Don't feel like they can kill the Tidehunter anyway, probably, so he just wants to get his farm up. CIS, the Gush and the stun. Meanwhile, top.
That's actually going to be top, where they get to take down Nefrit. Just caught out by this poison damage, and not a great start for him up in that safe lane. Already falling behind in farm, and now losing his life to the two of them here.
Puck can't help him. They just chase him down, and Puck is, Puck as a 4 hero, as a 5 hero, you're all about your own game. You don't really help out too much a hero like Io in lane phase. I feel like Nefrit's really going to struggle, like I was saying, is it's not going to get easier for him either in the game. It feels like he's versus some very tough core matchups. As Immersion will check the rune. Up top as no one checks bottom. And it will spawn top with a DD. Oh no, Mellow.
Nice.
No one's going to run straight to that one, even give him a nice little Tidebringer cleave. And yeah, this Ember's lane continues to be quite miserable.
Very much so. I guess on the plus side for the IRA, this hero, the character, it is picked because of its ability to head into the jungle right at a certain point and farm pretty quickly there away from the lane.
On which one? Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there is a Nyx Assassin that is going to start invading really early on and just like scouting it out. But yeah, he will be able to at least do that. But if you're sacrificing your safe lane and then your Ember, it looks like he's going to have to resort to jungle. Like your Tidehunter and your supports are going to have to do so much. Doesn't feel like it's a great option for them, as these lanes just have gone so poorly. Like no one's just pushing Mellow out of the lane completely now. Doesn't even pop the DD just yet. 28-12 to the 17-2. And we see Wraith King, he's free farming bottom. They can't actually apply pressure, because I think if it was tied and a different 4 position, maybe they could look to actually slow him down. But ET he doesn't really do much of anything versus Kato and Wraith King. They just force the lane out, and then he can't go for any type of aggressive play because they have a creep wave under them with a Wraith King and a Coddle. So he's looking to break the lanes. They're moving it up. They're maybe sending Chu down bottom, it seems like, and they're putting the ET top.
We'll see mid.
There's mid. Oh.
Let's see if they can finish this off. Well, they can. Mellow Jewel goes down. Despite, I believe, but not quite able to get him in the combo of the boat, only landing the torrent on the bringback, but it was enough.
Yeah. I think Chu got the little mini silence.
I think the silence trip,
I think
he did that time, to be fair to him. Yeah, he couldn't quite bring him back in time. So good that he was able to stagger and get that torrent out, so he did have something to pull him back into.
Yep, and they glyph the wave. They keep the catapult alive in mid lane. No one, he's going to go check the bottom rune as well, as their Nyx Assassin checks top. Honestly, ASM Gambit, they're playing this early game absolutely perfect right now, as they've gotten significant damage on the tower. All 3 lanes looking pretty good. And for EXTREUM, it's really just the Tidehunter who's having a good start, and yeah, I don't see any stacks even for the IO to be coming back in later on. So definitely really worried for EXTREUM in these next few moments. As Nefrit, just getting chased up by Immersion. Should be fine.
I mean, and the thing is this is another game where EXTREUM's lineup, when you look at it, does need to have that lead early on. Like, I think it's a little different to game 1 in the sense that their lineup doesn't have to have that much of an advantage at the start.
Their lineup is just, it's very weird because they don't have traditional supports or catch. They're very ulti reliant. Like, I feel like without Ravage, without Coil, they can't do much of anything on their draft. Like, ET and Puck supports, they're just a little bit awkward as the duo together. They don't do much until they hit that 6, especially on Puck. Like, ET's a laning hero, and when his lane doesn't go well, he has to just recover off of the big team fights if he's able to connect with them. And there's some heroes that he hates to play against. ET does not enjoy playing versus these beefy strength heroes, where his aura just doesn't really do much of anything, and he's playing versus those. And Nefrit, he will go to the jungle, so he will be able to get this timing on the Dominator still at least, and he will work on some stacks. But that means Afterlife, he just starts to pressure the top tower. And now they're going to start making moves, just like last game. The same invasion they did before versus that Bristleback. They send no one and Immersion in, hunting for that IO, pushing him away. Nefrit's aware. He has that ward to cover him. He'll have to play on the right side, but Gambit just has all the information at the moment. They can pick and choose what they really want to do right now.
Afterlife's pretty much going to get this tower for free here. No real attempts being put into stopping him.
I wonder what the build's gonna go. What the build's gonna be for him. Looks like he might just do some like Greaves build. Honestly, he might just be some mech Greaves frontliner, and I don't see how like Extremum's damage is gonna be extremely limited if he's able to get those items. They're very telegraphed with just like one set of spells is gonna be their damage, and that's it. They're not actually those heroes that do get a lot of auto attacks or anything. It's just spell connection. So look, if Afterlife does do this, it's a pretty good choice. If they get the stomp on top, Afterlife.
He's gonna hold his position. Doing quite a bit of damage here to the Ember. As the Ember, he's just dead. Melo's going to go down. G will come in. And with the help of Chu, they do finally manage to bring down Afterlife. And can they get Immersion as well? Stomp will hold him in position. They close the gap, but Nefrit's already back out. Immersion actually able to turn, get the stun off onto Chu.
Is he going to live?
But they're diving in, and they will get him. So they get the 2 kills, but they lose Melojoule. And of course, at the same time, on the other side of the map, the Tide also ends up going down.
At least they get themselves some kills, but oh man, Melojoule, he jumps in. He tried to slight dodge the Viper Strike, but it connects. He just dies to all that overwhelming magic damage. As Viper just goes right back up top, and he is queuing up the mech. I love this choice this game for him. He doesn't need to go for any extra catch or anything. He just needs to be tanky, and it really does feel like Extremum was gonna run out of damage very quick. And yeah, all again this game. ASM Gambit looking real hot.
I mean, it certainly was going to be a risk letting them specifically have the Kunkka 2 games in a row. You would have thought that first game would have been a pretty convincing showing of maybe having to take that away from no one after he was able to put in such a strong effort in that first match.
And not banning the Viper, honestly. Like, they picked Tidehunter and left the Viper. It's, you know, you just leave the break mechanic out there. As Afterlife, he's having such a good start in the game, and he's always going to have this impact. Like, they have great ways to hold people in the Nether Toxin as he misses the tower.
I was going to say, that was an easy hit. He loses it to the range creep. Come on, Afterlife.
It always happens. As bottom, I'm watching CIS. He's just making sure that they can't actually push and put any pressure on the tower. He's just blasting the waves every single time. They're trying to punish him for this, though. But he's speedy. He gets right in between the stomps.
And he's actually away from this whole relocate attempt from Nefrit.
And now he has recall, so they're a bit afraid that he's just going to bring someone in. Of course, we've seen the nerf to recall. It is 5 seconds to bring someone, but they can't die versus this. If he recalls the No-One Kunkka, the Viper, they're just dead in that point. And now mid tower also getting brought down very quickly here from the Kunkka.
They're bringing in Todd.
Top. But Afterlife's here.
Shashlight.
Ravage. Okay.
See if they can bring down Afterlife. They can. They bring him down. They hold the tower for now. Now they're jumping over towards No One. And No One, he's got the backup here as the stun into the boat, sets up onto the Tide. Shashlo, he's trying to run. They're going to have the X mark to control him. Buy time for Dream to come across. The Tide bring a hit from No One as he gets the another angle to cut down Shashlo. They will get the tower tonight. They're still losing a hero and losing objectives. ASM Gambit just growing this lead even more, holding on to this 4K advantage at just 11 minutes in.
At least Nefrit's getting space. That's the one thankful thing that's coming out for Extremum. They will lose these towers, but at least he's able to get some farm and stun off the mark. Immersion. Still looking dead.
It's CIS. Look at the build. Look at the build. He's ready to go. He's
oh my God,
he's just really gonna get a Midas on the Cottle. Damn. That is yeah, he's calling this one already. He's like, well, he's like, we won. I'm buying a Midas.
It counteracts like so much. Like I really don't know how IO is gonna fare up versus D3 cores. Like Viper, Wraith King, and Kunkka just feel like they're gonna eat him alive. They have point targets. I mean, great ways to catch him. IO's all about sticking on the sidelines of fights, and he's just gonna get locked down as we see top. No One again running away with the game.
I mean, well, we will see him go down it. I mean, well, that is the. Is this the strat? Is CIS gonna save that Midas for the IO creep?
Oh.
Is that the strat? Maybe. I mean, that's the strat, I think, right? He's just going to eat that creep every fight. And then what's an IO without the creep? It's pretty good. That's
pretty true.
It's a legitimate good counter. You just Midas the helm of the Dom creep and the IO's useless, you know?
I don't think they need it. They have so much catch for the IO when he's tethered around anyway. They have X. It's like the best spell in the game versus
Sure, but this is, this is going to make it hurt for the IO. If you have the enemy position 5 just walking up and eating your creep. that's just smart stuff. I just hope he saves it for that. Don't use it efficiently. Just save it for the IO in the fights.
Oh, Mellow. He gets hit by the cleave. They see him for a second.
They've gone with the X. And they've got in Spike Carapace. It's getting messy. I mean, it's you're seeing why AsMonaco's going the Midas route this game. As
the splitter?
Oh, it's a good combo.
It's pretty nice.
Can no one get out of this? He's going to land the turn on the eye. They've not actually lost anyone here yet, ASM Gambit. They'll probably lose Afterlife. I say that, and Nefrit's going to be on his way back out. They'll leave Shashlo behind with G, but they're a little scared about going in onto Afterlife.
No one's coming back. He's thinking about it. He's very low, though.
I mean, Afterlife's getting a lot of poison out onto this Tide.
Tide's dying.
Whoa, nearly gets clipped by the Illuminate.
Okay.
All right, they get a couple.
2 return kills. Yep, not bad.
Yep. AsMonaco
is still free farming though. You know, he's still got his like radiance nearly done.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna be like, okay, maybe no one's going Radiance, but of course he's not, yeah, because he's got a Wraith King going Radiance. He's just gonna get the BKB himself.
Yep, same build as before, just super strong.
Yeah.
Can fit in whatever he wants for that 3rd slot. Doesn't need to go for the. Actually, could potentially still go for Shivas in the game, but doesn't need it. As we see him barely survive down bottom, and now Mellow, he's up. He's stalked again. Immersion's right on top of him.
A little slow on it, Immersion. He needs to be a little quicker if he wanted to get that hit and the stun follow-up to the Wraithfire Blast. I gave a...
That is something we didn't really like talk about when they did pick up this Ember versus the Kunkka matchup. They picked Ember into Nyx. Like, this game for Mellow is just impossible at all times. He's always just getting carapaced in every single situation, so... Yeah, this game is looking real rough. They're trying to farm the Ags on Nefrit, but we're really seeing that they just can't make plays unless they have ults. Like, Coil, Ravage is just absolutely necessary for them to make any type of aggressive play on the side of EXTREUM.
Well, they're going to go for the smoke move with the ults.
Okay. They've got a Veil, too, so a little bit of extra chunk of damage to be able to bring down these tanky heroes like Viper.
Going to go on no one. Going to have the run buff. And he's actually going to try and TP out. They've got Coil, though. They'll put a stop to it. He is tanky with this armlet. And he's going to get some backup, but the Coil will snap, and they do get the kill.
Okay, nice move. Didn't have to use Ravage either, so that's a pretty good pickup. As they will have it for the next one. Try to chase down for the next 30 seconds. Maybe force another fight where you can actually get your Ravage off and get some more kills, but... Yeah, some Gambit, they will back away. EXTREUM now try to at least push and get a tower here, but the tower's full, and they're already even bringing the Wraith King in. So it is a kill on the Kunkka, which is a big one, but they can't get too much out of it besides just backing up and farming. Which they do need anyway, so.
Let's see what ASM Gambit can do themselves with the smoke.
They've got Radiance. And now Dream can start turning up to all these fights. This Wraith King is a very big threat. As they see the IO bottom, Nefrit. Oh, the Carapace. Even as he does the scan, he knew it was coming, but it was just a little bit too slow. Can he tether out?
Here's tanky. And not tanky enough.
He tried, though. Good effort moving the Dominator creep to at least set up. But the scan was just like a split second late. He just gets caught on the edge of the Carapace with the Spirits.
Well, here we go. Snakeo's got the Midas. Now, is he going to use it, or is he going to save it? I think he's going to save it.
It looks like he's saving.
He's going to save it, dude.
Right next to him.
Don't use it. Save that Midas.
Oh, and that is some...
This is a game where the passive Midas is good. He wants...
not using it. He's actually
I told you, dude. It's the IO counter. Believe me, I've tried this before, and I get heavily reported. This is the IO counter. Just eat his creep.
Well, you do it as a core, and then people are just yelling at you because your Midas is up. So.
I mean, that's true. I don't have any other items in my inventory when it's here. You know, it's just naked Midas. But here we go. So he's... I mean, what you can't do anything about this, right? What's Nefrit going to do?
But the anti-efficiency, just seeing the Midas up this whole time, it's just been 30 seconds already.
I think it's worth it, though. You know, you take... Io without his creep is kind of useless.
Oh, and I think he could have gotten anything. I'll be totally honest with you.
The passive Midas.
Setting up the recalls. But they can't quite bring in Afterlife in time. And the passive Midas will continue until the fight does kick off the Midas.
Absolutely, dude.
Midas the damn Dominator. Hey, it's gonna ruin him. Amongst being controlled also versus Kunkka and Wraith King and everything, this is not looking fun for EXTREUM as Shashla.
So the IO is afraid to... Oh, here he comes. I can see, he can see his creep. SmonaCo's eyeing it up. Get in there, SmonaCo. Where's your creep now, sir? Where's your creep now? Ravage comes out. Oh, he's caught SmonaCo. And he's caught Dream. SmonaCo will go down. Dream also getting low. They take down Dream the once. Mello is trying to TP out. He'll be able to make it away. The boat comes down onto the two of them. Nefrit will fall. And now with the Brave Fire Blast over to Shashlo, they'll try and chase down the Tide. Shashlo is going to have the backup though, as Mello's back. He's ready for round 2. See if they can catch anyone here. Dream, Afterlife, and no one off the side. No, whoo, he's able to turn and cut down Chew.
The Ravage, the Coil, all their ults expended, and they just get the 2 supports and the Reincarnate. But that's why we're seeing that Wraith King just coming into power there, as we see this beautiful Midas just eats the poor Kobold Foreman, and Io just can't move anymore inside the fights. Definitely seeing the damage amplification coming in, though, that they're able to get some type of kills, right? The Veil plus that ET aura is coming into play for some extra damage, but these cores are just, they're still a bit too durable. The Kunkka, the Viper, the Wraith King, they endure throughout all of it. And knowing he did get the BKB off pre-Ravage, so.
I'm already straight back in the action. Immersion was trying to scout them out here. I see that.
Midas is back up in 10 seconds.
All right, he's ready for the next fight. He's
ready for the next fight.
Let's go.
I actually love this. As they'll find G. And now Mello, he's also under the gun here, and they see his Remnant.
He's got another Remnant out though, but straight back. Flame Guard still up, of course, for this Carapace catches him immediately on the drag back of the X mark. So no chance for a jump out.
This is rough on.
Here's some Gambit looking hot. They're looking good.
Nefrit, he'll try to run away. He's got his creep.
SmonaCo, he's going to be making a beeline for this. You know, he sees this eye on his creep. He wants to have a reason to use it, you know.
He's not going for the kill. He's going for the creep. Mercy's going to keep track of it. They'll be able to get the IO, though. Nice and easy.
SmonaCo, get him over here. Go get the creeps. Oh, no. He used it. He was like, well, the IO's dead. I'll just eat someone else. Yeah.
Exactly.
He'll have it back up in time for the next fight.
And ASM Gambit just really running away with the game. 15-10, full ward coverage on the bottom side of the map. Not even getting them dewarded either. As Ember, Mellow Jewel, he gets X back again.
Has he got another Remnant? He has.
Oh.
And he's got another. The Carapace.
Oh! He's good. He'll live this time.
And Carapace not quite lasting long enough for Immersion to get in range.
Full SNY now for Wraith King 2.
Oh, geez, got to be careful.
They all have to be careful. They can kill the... It's still the same thing. They can kill the supports if they get these connections with their ults, but it really is just these core heroes that are... They're immortal. Like Viper, he may look squishy with his 1300 HP, but he's got Greaves. He's got the hood.
I see no one very close to having his Aghanims done. Just 700 and so away from having that. Again, another very smooth game from no one and his Kunkka. 9-1-3.
And a very nice Torrent Storm game. You know, no one anywhere in the realms of a BKB for at least like 15 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that. So this Torrent Storm is going to be very effective when he does get it.
Oh,
he's level 18 as well.
Oh, SmonaCo.
That's insane.
Just turn and get the Midas off. Get the Midas off. Get the Midas off. Get the Midas. He didn't do it. He had the chance. He needed to go all in on getting the Midas off.
He got the dig. He got the hood. He just didn't get the Midas.
Straight to the bottom with you.
DD up top. Ooh.
I mean, in that situation, you are entitled to type passive Midas.
In that situation.
Yeah, in that situation, the opportunity was there. The creep came running him. He panicked.
Time to force the rush. Dream, full HP with that DD and the lifesteal. And it dies very quickly here at this point with so many items that they've been able to swing out. Immersion, even looking for the next play, making his way to the high ground. And SmonaCo will respawn. And now you may be able to kill the Wraith King the once. As Tidehunter, we've seen a lot of times versus Wraith King pretty good. Now you have to kill him 3 times, though.
That's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough.
And Shashlo's showing himself down bottom. They're bringing the Wraith King down. Doesn't quite have the blink either on the Tide. And they're swinging the rest of the heroes, it looks like. Maybe farming Ancients first. Keeping tabs of his items, too. They're very aware that this Tide still does not have the Blink Dagger for those quick initiations.
Well, they call the IO.
Uh-oh. Nefrit.
They're going to have the damage easily for the IO. Well, so that's the carry gone. Snake up. He'll keep top pressured out, keep his tier 1 safe. I mean, as you can see, you know, this game, 23 minutes, EXTREUM, they've only been able to take one tier 1 tower. ASM Gambit have done a very solid job of holding off any other attempts from EXTREUM to get these objectives.
Yeah, they really tried to make this IO work, but it's been met with quite a strong force. You know, this No One Kunkka, just an absolute beast. And yeah, they're actually onto the high ground with this Aegis. With the blink also on Wraith King, he can quick jump onto a target if he sees fit. As he's now hit level 18 as well, too, so reincarnate, 40-second cooldown. And they're actually gonna get the scout on the puck, Chu.
Chu's out.
Nearly just dead. Still annoying to push into ET and also versus this Ags IO, even though they have Carapace and all that. They're going to give some respect. They'll swing around, go for this tier 2 mid. EXTREUM does have the blink on the Tide. It's an incredibly tough fight to take versus the Aegis, though.
Well, they are stepping outside of the base, but can they get that jump? Dream!
Oh, they got Shashlo.
He's in, he's onto the Tide.
Oh, no.
Shashlo, is he going to be able to get anything off? He's not. Shashlo's gone.
Dead. He went to go farm a hard camp. He already has the blink. He just, that was really weird. He went to go farm the hard camp and he just dies. Because if he isn't the one who insta-jumps, he's going to get controlled and broken and kept in the Nether Toxin. So he can't combo break, get the Ravage up. Very surprised he went to go farm a hard camp when he already has his items. He already has everything they need for the Tide.
Oh, down bottom. Oh.
Ooh. Okay.
All right, choose away.
A very appropriate little chat wheel to the whoop whoop. As he's out.
Man, he's probably going to have to return to base. Might be able to cut a few more waves or so here. Well, the full pipe's done on Afterlife. Top lane Dream. Found G. That's going to... it's just a plate mail away from having the AC complete. As they now bring in both, well, pretty much all 3 lanes here, having creeps pushing in, ready to go towards the high ground, 16k lead.
All 3 lanes pushing in, like all 3 fronts now under pressure here for EXTREUM, and they're still not even at Melojule's BKB, so he's still such a liability in the fights. Like Nick's Carapace and he's just dead. He gets hit by anything, he's just dead. He's very close to BKB though, so maybe he can actually clear out the supports. The Ember with BKB, he literally can just beeline onto Seneko and onto Immersion. They're gonna try this jump right before the BKB, the Ravage.
Yes, out to the 3 of them. We'll turn towards Immersion, but he's able to get the Spike Carapace and the stun out.
Tanky.
They turn, they're caught in the poison here. Shashlo and Melojul, they just melt to the turnaround here from ASM Gambit. It's just G and Nefrit left. Nefrit dragged back by the X mark. The stomp, it's going to be stepped to the side as ASM Gambit can get back in, cut down the IO. Couple of buybacks coming into play. Melojul, he's jumping in, but another torrent comes out. Melojul, he's got to be careful.
Oh.
As Dream, he's dodging these stomps and he's able to take him down. It's a dieback on the Ember. Dream, he's still got many lives to go through.
He's gonna keep going.
Triple
blink after G as well.
Yeah, they're gonna actually call GG before Dream's able to get more damage done it, as he's not gonna get the chance to take down G. As the Ancient Wolfall and indeed ASM Gambit today, my goodness, they weren't messing around. This is what you definitely expect from a squad with a name as big as this, right? AsMonaco Gambit picking up No One, and today, well, we certainly saw the benefits of that as No One getting his Kunkka twice and having 2 brilliant games with it here to carry this series out against EXTREUM.
And he even almost cracked a smile there in the camera at the end, you know, just almost. No one. He really just overperformed today, just crushed it in both of the games. He he really hurt Mellow a lot, because a lot of the times for this team, for EXTREUM, Mellow is the one he's the one making the space. He's the one making stuff happen so that he makes space for their carry. But in this game, it just wasn't possible. He got destroyed in the mid lane. He couldn't make any moves. He was also versus the counter. You know, he's versus Nyx Assassin. They did pick him into that Nyx as an Ember, and the game was just tough. It felt like they just had to rely on cooldowns entirely. And honestly, Gambit this day, they just looked way better. They looked like they had full plans just coming into all the games, and even some clever fun stuff, right? Midas, Coddle, they felt very confident today.
They did. I'm sure CIS was having a bit of fun towards the end of that one. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. ASM Gambit just on a bit of another level here compared to EXTREUM today, as they'll take this series very easy here. 2-0 for ASM Gambit.
On another level in the game, also on another level on the rankings, because they are now on higher than EXTREUM, which means they get to play tiebreakers for who's going to the Major versus Spirit Indeed on this Sunday. It's going to be very exciting to see who comes out on top with that one, but I'm getting ahead of myself because we're first going to break down this Game 2 and talk to the winners after the break.
With the right CPU, you can turn any game
this, I mean, we started the draft, or rather ended the draft, saying that EXTREUM had, you know, they had a good draft, but they needed like that top level execution, and they just didn't have it. T.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games where EXTREUM they draft a strategy which basically relies on you having good lanes, retreating back to the jungle, getting a big gold influx, and then pushing across the river. And you see on the minimap in these highlights, tier 1 towers alive, mid towers alive, bot tower.
Lose all 3 lanes, go up against 3 enemy cores that are all very tanky, one of the best mid players in the world.
Yeah.
It gets out of control pretty soon.
It does get pretty tricky.
Wraith King was going high ground with like 3 kill involvement in a 20-minute game. There's not really much you can do at that point.
I mean, he didn't need to do much. He just, you know, he's Wraith King. He just exists, and he wasn't really pressured at all.
Yeah, I unfortunately just wasn't really feeling the impact of the Bristle and the IO. You know, game 1, Bristle kind of lackluster. Game 2, IO once again. Normally EXTREUM, they got these big carries that somehow enter the game with kind of a strong timing, and this time just didn't see it. And that factor alone just kind of boils down to heart. And of course, mid lane, no one did crush 2 games in a row. Like, you're literally missing a carry in the mid lane 2 games in a row, not because of their own inabilities, but the fact that their opponents just played so much better today. Yeah, it's hard.
It was also interesting to see where we saw EXTREUM, and the last 5 bans they had were all targeted towards that off lane. You know, got to shut down Afterlife, or rather provide a good lane for the IO, and that didn't even go that well at all. And Perch is going to talk more about that.
Thanks, Cheever. Could focus on the mid lane and how amazing no one played, but that's pretty standard for him, and the matchup's decent anyways. I think what's really crucial here is that the lane swapping that happened right at the game start was a really big deal. They showed the Viper bottom, the IO and the Elder Titan are running down here to lane against the Viper, but at this point, Puck ends up teleporting to the top lane, and by doing so, he kind of screwed his team a bit in lane swaps, assuming that they wanted to pair the ET with the IO, which I think they did. Because IO went top, ASM Gambit recognized that Puck had just shown bottom, now had gone top, therefore had teleported. And what they did was they rotated the Wraith King bottom. They don't want to lane the IO against the Wraith King, so now they realize they need to switch lanes. IO wants to teleport top, but the problem is that G can't go with him on the Elder Titan, because if they do, then Puck is not going to be bottom because he already teleported top, and then it would just be a solo tide against 2, which would be a problem for a while. So whether this was them wanting to have the Elder Titan not laning against the Viper because of the fact that Viper's Nether Toxin can prevent his passive from working, what it did do is it really limited Nefrit, because now he doesn't have the benefit of a Boots melee hero that's really fast and able to run in and out against the Viper. This ended up happening, mattering for First Blood here. Afterlife now getting 2 stacks, almost 3 stacks here with the stun. He is able to finally tether over to the Puck, but this kind of weak movement speed from a Puck is going to really hurt him here. He ends up getting chased down. That's the First Blood that gives Afterlife boots and basically stabilizes him towards his really, really fast arcane boots. And he did a smart thing with this. He got arcanes fast so that he could go for these poison attack kills. But what he did after, once he started winning this lane here, he pushes the wave in, he regains control of the enemy creep wave, and then he just holds the creep wave where it is. He stops using Nether Toxin because he knows that IO can't approach the wave, which basically forces IO into this like passive sort of jungling playstyle. And it isn't until about the 5-minute mark that Elder Titan rotates over to try to stabilize the lane. And that's because G had to stay bottom for a first couple levels. What that ends up producing is he ends up losing some mana because he has to continue laning while he's there. And then it just makes rotating top not make sense by the time that Puck's TP is ready. So that lane swap there, they didn't really get IO with the right pairing. Things didn't get off to a good start. They lost mid, and everything just fell apart for EXTREUM on the neck.
I don't know why I still have Tikov and Kyle with me here, because that basically broke down the whole game exactly the way it was. But you want to add anything to it, T?
You don't want us to add anything? It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, you
don't need us.
No, it's fine. You don't need us. No, it's good. It's fine. Do we have an interview, Shiva?
We do actually in a second.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll talk then.
Get right to that. Yeah. You don't need us.
We don't need us, yeah.
You can ask all the questions too. You
Please do. Take it away, please. Yeah. It's fine.
Why is it so funny?
Yeah, it's not funny.
It's pretty funny. You guys can't take a joke.
No, it's just not a joke, though.
Look, it's just 3 lanes. Lose them all.
Game
the
over.
best support duo in Dota, as you said, Cuddle Nix. You can do a lot more with it.
Can we give some highlight to the Midas at least? That was a very creative.
that was
like,
good.
The game,
I like that.
okay, when you know the game's that chill.
Analysis we were waiting for.
What else were you going to say? You're going to say 3 lanes lost, 3 lanes lost, they win the game. Ah! Is that what you're going to say, Carl? No.
You already
keep
did
her
say
alive.
that. That's
He
all
had
I
a
had.
pretty good time. Free game for himself. He won his
Yeah.
game. They just bought a cheeky Midas. Oh, you want a Tether? No! No creep for you. Tether a boy. And nope, they're dead anyway. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like that too. But it does
Hey,
mean
look at
like
this.
that just goes to show how much gold, how much more gold he had to work with compared to the Puck and the Elder Dragon.
Oh!
And he's gone.
Hey!
It
There you
also
go.
gives the bonus 150, right, on the bounty for the Helmadam creep too. So it's like a lot of
Money.
gold.
Yeah, that's a big
Lot of
Midas.
gold.
Yeah, I mean he saved it a lot for the creep of the IO. You know,
It
much to
works
the
twice
frustration
Midas,
of Owen.
basically, If
Yeah.
you get it on the creep, so you might as well save it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Great point, T-Gov.
Yeah, I loved it.
Thanks, Shiva.
You're welcome. You're never gonna leave your fellow panelists hanging.
I gave him a
Come on.
compliment. What, he wants a high five too?
Yes, he does,
Yeah,
actually. That's why he put his hand up like that. You know, what else do you think he was doing? He's saying, hi!
Ah, yeah, no. Should we have an interview yet, Shiva?
No, not yet. That would have been a great segue where I could say, hi!
That's what I was hoping for. Like,
I was hoping for that too, but that's not the case yet. This game, though, I mean, we see
up.
AsMonaco. What? Sets
Well,
what
just
up?
yeah, it's a spirit, and also the 4 invited teams. By the way, there was a little bit of criticism. myself.
Yes.
Including, we just arbitrarily invited teams, but we picked the best 4 because they're
We
the top
did.
4 of this groups.
They are, yeah, undisputedly so. And now we are actually ready with Afterlife, who is joining us for a post-game interview. Hello, Afterlife.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, congratulations on the series, first of all. I have a question regarding the difference for you as an offlaner playing with, now Noan and former FN. Do you notice a difference in style when playing with these mid laners? The difference between Noan and FN?
Noon is pretty aggressive player. He calls a lot for play mid, and he making a lot of calls in game. Difference is he just make more calls, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a good answer.
My question simply is: last year you played on EXTREUM for 6 or so months. Did this series mean anything else to you, or was it just another day at work?
No, it's just another game in Dota.
Okay.
It's not like I wanna win this team or something like this.
You want to crash them because you used to play on them.
Oh, okay.
No crash.
Okay. Are you still friends with
You
them?
still crashed them, though.
You still good?
Yeah. I'm friends with God, Chivash, Melajul, Nifrit. It's all my friends. So
Okay. That's good.
It's kind of sad though. You have to play against your friends. All right. Well, I won't ask how you think you're going to do against Team Spirit because obviously I think anyone would say they're going to win. Have you been following Europe at all? Who do you think is going to come out of their tiebreaker with Liquid OG and Tundra all vying for one spot?
I think OG will win. And asking again about Team Spirit.
Oh, well, how do you think you'll do against them? Will it be a 2-0 or will it be a little harder?
It's real hard, I think, because Team Spirit for use is like kryptonite for Superman. We didn't win one series in like 5 matches, I think. But we will try our best, and I hope we will win because it's matters for you.
And for the whole season Afterlife, you've been around for, of course, a long time. This is the first time that we see a 6-week DPC season. What did you think of it?
To be honest, I'm so tired right now. It's like you're sitting home 2 months playing Dota. It's just too much games. Not like games. Too much time. You need to be in form, in good shift. Guys, you need to play scrims, and it's just too long.
Do you feel like, because I think we talked to another player at some point, and he said that when you're playing a tournament, your mindset, it goes into tournament mode. And you can do that for 2 weeks, but 2 months is, yeah, a little long.
Yeah, it's too long.
Yeah.
I like more when it's 2 weeks or more, or 1 week. It's just easy to focus.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think we get a lot of the same feedback from a lot of the players indeed. Afterlife, I am looking forward to seeing you guys play versus Team Spirit on the Sunday, and I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us. It's much appreciated.
Thank you too.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
And that was Afterlife, and that is the final. That was their final series here in the group stage. Apart from tiebreakers, it's the final. It's the final day. We gotta hype it up a little bit. It's the final day, but then not. Let's take a look at the standings though, see where they end up, because they will be tied with Team Spirit 3rd and 4th, and that is a decider slot. Who goes to Major and who does not go to Major? So that will be one best of 3 to decide who's the best. Just a quick reminder, when they faced last, it was Team Spirit that came out on top with a 2-1, but this was also before no one joined them as well. But yeah, we have another series and nothing set in stone. T, what a surprise.
No, I just like the fact that we've got 2 tiebreaks here. We've got the tiebreak for the major, for that wildcard spot, and then we have the tiebreak for just, survival. Do you want to be in upper division? Do you want to have any chance of getting to the second major? That's Unique and Empire. So yeah, we're on the final day of the coverage, but that tiebreaker day, whew, that means so much more than pretty much the entire league at this point.
Third tiebreaker, because in our final series, if Navi beats VP, we will still have a tiebreaker because they'll be tied.
They have to play again.
They have to play again. So
run it back.
So literally every slot up for grabs in the tiebreaker.
It really is.
I hope we have that. I hope so.
I hope so too. But it is going to depend on the next series. I know, language is hard. The next series is going to be Navi versus VP. Winner of that. Well, if it's VP, they take first seed, they take playoffs at the major, and then Navi will be group stage at the major. But if it's Navi, tiebreakers! That's right, more tiebreakers. This one comes on the Monday, if that's the case, because they'll need to play VP again for that slot between group stage or playoff, because if Navi win, they would be tied with VP. I know, it's magic, it's glorious, hope we get that, but it will depend on how they do. And we're gonna find out how they do at 6 p.m. You can see the timing in the bottom over there. That is our time right now.